And welcome back to the Upside Sports Network. My name is Michael. Thank you for joining us as we joined kind of a watch party over the beginning of the season. Today, we're going to have the Boston Red Sox take on the Detroit Tigers. Rich Hill takes on Tyler Alexander. So it should be an interesting game. The headlines going into the game: Miguel Cabrera, as he nears 3,000 hits, one of the few players in Major League Baseball history to hit both 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. So it should be an interesting game from that perspective as well. But looking at the game itself, we have Javi Baez, who was the big free agent signing for the Detroit Tigers, against Trevor Story, who was the big free agent signing for the Boston Red Sox. Story, of course, comes over from the Rockies, took over the second base position to kind of give the Red Sox some insurance in case they're unable to re-sign Xander Bogaerts. For the Tigers, they're looking to build off of kind of a young nucleus that they built over the past couple of years. Their young rookie that they're hoping to get in the lineup, Riley Green, unfortunately wasn't able to break the club break at spring training with the club due to injury. They did acquire Austin Meadows before the beginning of the season from Tampa Bay, so he starts in the outfield for them. But again, Miguel Cabrera, 9 hits away from 3,000. As he tries to become one of 7 players in Major League Baseball history to hit both 3,000 hits and 500 home runs in his career. But thanks again for joining us here at the Upside, and the game is about to begin. And just to kind of run down things, Rich Hill is your starter for the Boston Red Sox, and Tyler Alexander is the starting pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Alexander, of course, kind of a young pitcher for them. The Red Sox are going to lead off with Kike Hernandez, followed by by Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts. J.D. Martinez is your cleanup hitter at DH. Bobby Dahlbeck takes over at first base. There was some talk they would go after Freeman, but they stuck with the young guy in Dahlbeck after they were unable to lure Freddie Freeman to Boston. Christian Arroyo is your right fielder today. No Jackie Bradley Jr. In the lineup. Left fielder Alex Verdugo. Plawecki is your catcher, and Arise is at second base. So it looks like they're giving Trevor Story the day off today. We'll see if he comes in later in the game as a pinch hitter, that kind of a thing. But so far, the Red Sox are 1-3 on the young season, looking to get things going in the right direction against the Detroit Tigers. They are on the road, however. For the Tigers, Grossman leads things off for them. Scope is your second baseman, hitting in the 2-hole. Javi Baez has hit the ball well in his on his new team anyway with the Detroit Tigers. He is your 3-hole hitter. He is the shortstop this year. Remember, he played second base primarily for the New York Mets last year. Candelario is your cleanup hitter at third base. Cabrera is your DH, of course. He's more of a hitter now, not really much of a fielder at all. In the 5-hole, Haas is your 6th-place hitter. 7, Badu. 8, Spencer Torkelson, another young player at first base for the Tigers. And it looks like Garreau is going to be your catcher. As we wait for the game to kind of get underway, some headlines from around the league. If you watched any of the baseball yesterday, you probably saw how the Rangers game ended last night. They were tied 4-4 going into extras, and the Colorado Rockies got up on them 6-4. Greg Holland gave up a couple runs and extras, of course, with the extra man being on second base to start the inning. In the bottom half of the inning is where the news really comes out of. More of the slide into second base kind of controversy that you've seen. Now, it wasn't nearly as bad of a slide as we saw back in 1977 into Willie Randolph, when the guy literally tore right into the torso, flung himself in midair towards the shortstop trying to turn the double play. This one was more of a hard slide into second, not even that hard, but it did cost the Rangers the game. You didn't even get an explanation really from the umpires, which is what most people thought was going to happen this year when they gave the umpires the mic, is that there would be some clarity on why the ruling was made. All they said is they pointed to second base, said, "You're out," pointed to first base, said, "You're out," and left the field. Not exactly clear as to why that slide was illegal, but I guess they did determine that slide was not good in today's game. So therefore, the Rangers did not get the win. Let us know in the comment section what you think of the new slide rules that have been around for at least a couple of years now anyway. Seems that we don't really have any home plate collisions anymore. You have to give the runner a lane to the plate in order to be able to reach the base. Catchers, of course, have to possess the ball before being in that lane. So we don't really see that home plate collision too often. Second base, you can't really do the takeout slide anymore that we've seen. You still have to make contact with the bag, so you can't like try to miss the bag entirely and try to take out the feet of the shortstop or second baseman trying to flip the ball over to first base. That I get. This slide was more right at the base. He may have overslid it by about a foot, but that's very controversial in my book as far as why that ruling was made, and it would have been very helpful if we would have at least gotten an explanation as to why it was illegal. Looks like the game is underway. First pitch of the game is a ball he tried to throw a sinker anyway, way outside. Fouled off the second pitch, another sinker. But again, thank you guys for joining us here at the Upside. Two and two now the count. Alexander set as Hernandez calls time again. Bright day there in Detroit as Boston again tries to get back in the win column. Alexander set and the pitch. Up and in, but Hernandez chases it. Strike three call, or well, strike three anyway, not called, but swung at and missed by Kike Hernandez. Kike Hernandez is kind of that multifaceted player that Boston is going to shift around all over the diamond as the year goes on, with Story now being in the lineup this year. But a great pitch location by Alexander. Just got enough of a hint that it might come down into the strike zone in order to entice Hernandez to swing at it, and gets the strikeout. Rafael Devers comes to the plate. He's by far the Red Sox best player over the last year or two now. Really solidified himself as a Major League Baseball regular, now an all-star. 113 RBIs last year. Left-handed hitter digs in. Up and in, but called a strike. Evens the count at 1-1 to Devers. Devers unhappy with that call. Shaking his head, looking around. Devers is set. And the pitch. Up and away. Ball two. Looks like Alexander's trying to work that high strike here early in the game. You know, a team managed by Alex Cora does like to work the count and get into the bullpen, so we'll see if the Red Sox do that here today. Alexander with an up and in fastball hits the corner. Devers swings and misses at it. It's now 2-2 to the Red Sox slugger. And the pitch. Inside, almost clipped Devers. Looks like they're not going to let Devers extend his hands as this at-bat continues. So far on the young season, hitting .313, 5 for 16 on the young season. Does have a home run. Bogarts is on deck. He's your three-hole hitter today. Strike three called. Devers can't believe it, and he did not have a good view of that strike zone with this umpire the entire at-bat. Alexander gets the better of Devers there. Another high strike. This time a called strikeout there. And Alexander is off to a very good start. That purpose pitch by Alexander got Devers to bend back out of the way. And Alexander threw a nice cutter over the high outside corner and got the high strike call. You might remember that this year they're using PitchCom to kind of relay the signals back and forth between the pitcher and catcher. That way there's less time being wasted, and also sign stealing isn't going to be a problem this year. Kind of a little wristband thing that catchers are going to use in order to signal which pitch they want to throw and where they want that location to be at. And then inside the hat of the baseball player, of the pitcher anyway, is where you're going to hear that voice as to where that pitch is supposed to go. Smashed down to third base by Bogarts, fielded by Candelario, on to first. Torkelson makes a nice catch and gets the out there. Looks like the Red Sox may want to challenge this. Nope, Cora says, let's go. And that's the end of the first for the Red Sox. Tigers come up to bat. As we mentioned, Miguel Cabrera is 9 hits away from hitting 3,000. We'll see how much closer he gets today. Yesterday, he went 2 for 3, got a couple of hits. And so he's inching his way towards that 3,000 mark. Let us know in the comment section what you think about Miguel Cabrera's career, starting with the Marlins and really being a franchise icon for the Tigers ever since he arrived there. Been a great third baseman and first baseman for them, but just doesn't have the athleticism anymore to be able to play the field every day. He might be able to play in a pinch. Say if Torkelson needs a day off, maybe they can throw him at first for a day or two. But the Tigers want to see Torkelson kind of take off this year and really become a star-level player that they drafted him to be. But Javi Baez, again, will be third up in the lineup for the Tigers today. He was the big offseason addition along with Eduardo Rodriguez from the Boston Red Sox. A little bit of history between the two teams now. A.J. Hinch is the manager this year for the Detroit Tigers, coming over after a year off from being the Houston Astros manager. If you'll remember, both A.J. Hinch and Alex Cora were both suspended for their involvement in the what we'll call as a trash can incident back in 2017 when the Astros did win their title. There's a lot of he said, she said kind of a thing going on as to how involved everybody was. But Major League Baseball said basically if you're management, if you're coaching staff, you should know better. You should be able to police these kinds of things. And it's kind of the institutional integrity, those kinds of things, having control of your institution. And that's why Hinch was punished for his involvement. Again, Grossman is going to lead things off. He's 1 for 15 early on in the year, so maybe he can straighten things out today. The Tigers lineup as a whole has been struggling, with the one exception being Javi Baez and, of course, Miguel Cabrera. Everybody else seems to have had their early season struggles. But on the mound for the Red Sox is Rich Hill. In his return to Boston, if you'll remember, he was one of the veteran pitchers that started for the Red Sox several years ago. After having a lot of injuries early on in his career. His 1-year, $4 million deal that he signed with the Red Sox kind of sparked his success to becoming a well-known pitcher, great postseason pitcher as well. We'll see how well his health stays up this year. That seems to be the one issue that's been getting him the last couple of years. But in his return to Boston, he's looking for a little bit of success. Bends in a couple of strikes here to Robbie Grossman. It's 0-2 quickly on the Tigers' leadoff hitter. Hill moves quickly. He was already one of the fastest workers in the league. Basically, he grabs the ball, steps on the mound. Here's the command in his hat, and just immediately starts throwing the pitch. That one was in the dirt. 1-2 is the count. Grossman laying off that pitch down and in. Again, Hill moving quickly here. Misses his spot. Catcher set up outside, but Hill misses up and in. Looks like a fastball there. Here in the bottom of the first, 0-0 is our score. And Hill again grabs the ball, set and delivers. This time does hit a spot right at the bottom of the strike zone, and Grossman is out on strikes looking. Not a good start to the year for Robbie Grossman. Now remember, Riley Green will be up on the big league club as soon as he is healthy. And so far, we haven't seen anything out of Robbie Grossman this year to inspire any confidence that he can hold his spot down for the entire 162-game season. But again, it is early. Major League Baseball has set out to umpires and to teams that they're going to be calling the high strike a little bit more. That one was on the lower side, but clearly within the zone. Another strike pumped in there by Hill, and he is moving very fast today. Jonathan Scope is in there. Last year hit 278, so a nice year for him. Scope drives the ball down the first base line, and foul, bouncing into the seats. 0-2. Hill is just pouring in the strikes early on in his start. Good sign for him. As I was mentioning, with pitch tracks that you see on most broadcasts nowadays, it kind of lets you know where the pitch is. If you've heard anything about minor league baseball this year, you've heard about the robo ump, allowing kind of like the pitch tracks technology that they've used for years, and improve that to where they now can call balls and strikes. They've seen in the past in lower levels of the minors, it have some success. Now they're trying it throughout the minors, and next year it probably will be in the major leagues. Rich Hill set and delivers. Scope off the end of the bat, flies it into center field, and caught. And Scope is out for the second out of the inning. Rich Hill is the oldest pitcher in the majors this year at 42 years old. No Bartolo Colon this year, so of course he always is trying to come back, but Rich Hill is definitely the oldest starting pitcher this year. Hernandez hauled that one in center. Your outfield alignment, Verdugo in left, Hernandez in center, Arroyo in right. Devers at third, Bogarts at short, Arise at second base for Trevor Story, and Dahlbeck is your first baseman today. Hill set and delivers to Javi Baez in his first at-bat of the day, right on the inside corner, just barely catching the inside corner there. El Mago again looks at another pitch in there for a strike. This one caught a little bit more of the plate. Looks like a changeup there. Baez wondering, hey, how close was that to the corner? How much more do I have to protect? Hill again basically stands on the rubber and immediately starts to pitch. Swing and a miss, and Baez, again, the one issue he does have with his swing is that he is a little bit of a free swinger. He will swing and miss a lot, and he does there. Chases, ball one, and we're on to the second inning. Nothing the score. Rich Hill with a scoreless first inning, along with Tyler Alexander. Both pitchers off to a lot of success today. Let us know in the comment section what you think of Javi Baez joining the Detroit Tigers, kind of giving them some legitimacy. Having that connection with A.J. Hinch apparently is what helped lure him to the Detroit Tigers. That and their young nucleus should make Detroit a good team for the next several years. They are in a division, of course, with the Cleveland Guardians, who seem to be in contention every year, at least for a wild card spot. Twins sometimes seem to have an up year one year, down the next. We'll see if they can find some consistency. And, of course, the White Sox have really built their youth up, and they've got a really good team for at least the next several years as well. Luis Robert is a possible MVP candidate. Jose Abreu as well. Eloy Jimenez of the White Sox. So the Tigers will have their work cut out for them this year. So this year, in my opinion, is more about growth of the team and Torkelson and Green and getting that pitching staff to kind of come around a little bit more. And, of course, seeing how well Baez messes in Detroit. If it doesn't work out there, he was signed, I believe, for a 5-year deal, so it's not like they couldn't trade that deal if they had to. But Detroit is hoping for bigger and better things and hoping to kind of form a team around Baez. It's like we're out of the commercial break and back for the second inning. Tyler Alexander, of course, was dominant in his first inning of work. Frustrating Red Sox hitters, most notably Rafael Devers. Devers just did not have a good feel for what he was seeing out of the hand of Tyler Alexander and struggled with for a feel of the strike zone in his at-bat. J.D. Martinez up. He is the DH today. 1-0 is the count. That pitch looked to be in there, low strike, but again, baseball is looking to call that higher strike. Robo ump probably calls that one a strike there. 14 pitches so far in the game for Alexander as Martinez is set. And Alexander delivers. On the outside corner, Martinez rolls over it to third base, but foul. 1-1 is the count here in the top of the second inning. More Houston connections with J.D. Martinez. Detroit connections, started his career with Houston and Detroit anyway. Found some success there and then signed the big free agent deal with the Red Sox. A.J. Hinch, of course, was his manager at one point in time. It's been several years now since he was in either Detroit or Houston. as he's really solidified himself in that AL East. Signed that big contract with the Red Sox, and at the time, everybody wondered, was it really worth signing a DH type player to that deal? Well, Boston's used to having that big DH in the lineup with David Ortiz, as Martinez rolls over it to third base. Easy throw on to first, and Torkelson makes the catch. Out number one. Alexander again really commanding where he wants to throw that ball today. Really looks very good. Dahlbeck, who did hit the home run in, I believe, last night, or 2 nights ago anyway, to give them the win against the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Digs in. Last year hit 240 with 25 home runs. There have been some comparisons between Dahlbeck and Freeman, but I'm not going to go that far yet. He's still very young, needs to get more experience in the big leagues before I even come close to considering that. Of course, if you look at another young player in the league, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., from an offensive standpoint, he's equaled what Freddie Freeman has done. But again, it's only 1 year for Vlad Guerrero. We'll see how he does this year. For me, defensively, Freddie Freeman is by far the superior defender than both of these players. If you believe otherwise, if you're a Red Sox fan and you think Dahlbeck is going to be better than Freddie Freeman or the next Freddie Freeman, let us know that. 2-0 the count as he lays off a couple. Bottom outside corner there, 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Dahlbeck fouls down the first base line as they show highlights of his home run on Sunday Night Baseball. Gave the Red Sox a 4-3 victory in New York over the Yankees. Alexander set and fires. Dahlbeck hammers the pitch, but right at Baez, out number 2. That's the first hard hit ball off of Alexander today, as he seemed to struggle a little bit with his command in that at bat. Alexander unhappy with himself on the pitch location on that one as well. One thing you hear about coaches is they don't like to see their pitchers show a lot of emotion. They like to keep their emotions in check and be able to kind of think the position, think each pitch through. Arroyo digs in with 2 outs, nobody on here in the second inning. Still waiting for our first base runner of the game. 262 average last year for Arroyo. Kind of split some time all over the diamond, kind of like Kike Hernandez for the Red Sox. They will deploy him pretty much any one of the outfield positions. Second base occasionally. Originally came up as a shortstop in the Rays system. Once thought of as a highly regarded prospect. Is not considered that anymore as Alexander misses his spot outside again. 2-1 is the count here in the top of the second. Alexander set and fires. Ooh, just off the plate on the inside corner, but called a strike anyway. Robo-umps again would have been useful there. So remember when you're watching the game next year, how much different these pitches are going to look. Even though a pitch may finish in the dirt, if it catches any part of that plate due to the robo-ump, it will be called a strike. That's technically the way the game should be called anyway, but it will be far more noticeable when those kinds of things happen. They check Alexander, of course, after the inning to make sure there's no substances on his hands. He passes his check and moves on to the dugout, and we move on to the bottom half of the second inning. This inning will see Miguel Cabrera in his first at-bat for the Detroit Tigers today. Play-in tournament for the NBA is today. They're going to have the 7-8 matchups today. They're going to have the Brooklyn Nets in action. For those of you who are Brooklyn Nets fans, all the rumors all year long about whether or not Kyrie was going to be able to play, and it looks like they're going to have a home game. New York did lift their ban that they had on vaccinations in indoor buildings, that kind of a thing. A special exemption anyway for athletes was made by Eric Adams, the New York City mayor. And Kyrie is eligible to play, was able to play the final 10 games or so of the season to kind of get some consistency. He's had a very nice year, a 50-point game and a 60-point game in March. So Kyrie kind of rounded into form. They will not have Ben Simmons, the big asset that they got back from Philadelphia in the James Harden trade. Looks like James Harden and Kevin Durant just didn't work as the season wore on. At least off the court, they didn't work. On the court, of course, when you had all three of them, that team was virtually unbeatable when all three were on the court together. But that was the problem. Kyrie was not able to play for the majority of the season due to vaccination status. Durant had his injury issues, and so it was a lot of Harden in one or by himself in a lot of games. It was KD in a lot of by himself in a lot of games. The addition that they got back in Seth Curry should help stabilize that shooting guard position, giving them some production out of that spot. Philadelphia, they had some ups and downs ever since the James Harden deal. They don't have quite the depth that they had before, with Seth Curry being there and Ben Simmons to play on defense. But Ben Simmons and Philadelphia had the falling out, and Ben Simmons didn't play all year round. As we wait for the game to get started again. Rich Hill will come out for his second inning of work. Probably the fastest pitcher I've ever seen in baseball, Rich Hill. So if you want a quick baseball game, Rich Hill is the starter you want. A lot of the younger generation doesn't have time to sit here and wait for people to adjust their batting helmet and their gloves and check their watch and stare out into the bleachers for a couple of seconds. Check their gloves again, tap the bat on the plate, get set, all to call time to wipe a fly out of their eyes or and then start the process all over again. They just don't have time for that. The pitch comm that they're using seems to make things go a little bit faster. And we're out of commercial break, and the count is already 1-2. And he pops up the pitch behind second base, and Bogaerts makes the catch. See what I mean about moving quickly? Even the TV broadcast couldn't keep up with them. And they're the Red Sox home broadcast that I'm watching. Rich Hill just moving quickly as Miguel Cabrera digs into a round of cheers from the Detroit crowd as he loosens up, getting ready to dig into the box. A couple of oldest players in the league, Hill versus Cabrera here. Hill looks to be stretching something out a little bit. Maybe just kind of loosen some muscles up a little bit. Doesn't look hurt, though. Hill set and fires. Up and away, just at the top of the zone. Strike one to Cabrera. Cabrera asking where that one was. 15 home runs last year for Cabrera. 256 average as he digs in. Strike two again by Hill. This time on the lower third of the plate on the inside corner. And Cabrera's down 0-2. Both pitchers pitching very well early on today. Red Sox catcher wasn't ready that time as Hill is already ready to go. Miguel says, "Wasn't me," points down at the catcher and says, "It was your own catcher." Rich Hill shakes off the frustration and gets back on the mound, set and ready to go. Fires. Curveball low and in, almost hits the knee of Cabrera, but he doesn't flinch. Cabrera has a laugh at that one. And they're set to go. If you like quick baseball, this is definitely your matchup. Oh, check swing and goes around on a up and away pitch out of the zone. Cabrera is retired on strikes. As Cabrera turns around and talks to the umpire asking, where was that one anyway? How bad did I mess up? Having some fun with the umpire. See, you can have a conversation with the umpire and it not be contentious when you are struck out. It's not always the umpire's fault whenever you strike out. Rich Hill digs in, set, and fires. Ground ball to shortstop. Bogaerts digs it out and on to first. Dahlbeck makes the catch. And that was a quick 1-2-3 inning for Rich Hill. And they check him again, or the pitcher is checked again for substances, of course. As he has a nice conversation with the umpire about pitches and all that. So far, a very entertaining game. If you like good, fast baseball, good pitching, No runs in this game. Very different than the last baseball game we did, where there was 15 runs scored by the fifth inning in the Rangers versus the Blue Jays on Sunday. If you remember in that one, Spencer Howard, the Rangers starter, gave up 4 home runs in 3 innings. One to George Springer to lead things off. Chapman, a three-run blast in the first. Jansen, another homer in the second, and Guerrero, a homer in the third. The Rangers did rally back, though, scored 6 runs in the top of the fourth and didn't really look back anywhere in that game. Tacked on another couple in the fifth. It was 9-6. They ended up winning that game 12-6 against the Blue Jays to get their first win of the year. We already mentioned what happened last night with Mitch Garver making that illegal slide into second base that ended the game in extras for the Rangers yesterday. A little bit of controversy there as to whether or not that was an illegal slide. But again, umpires are supposed to be able to communicate and allow fans to know the reasoning behind the call a little bit more. All we saw was a point to second base, you're out, a point to first base, you're out, and not really an explanation of why it was an illegal slide. He did slide at the base, did slide over the base by about 1 foot. And I guess that's the part that baseball or the back in New York where they said, hey, that's the part of the illegal slide, and therefore the game is over. Not exactly the way you want to have replay end a game, but if it was the correct call, it'd be nice to know the reason why. If you do believe it was the wrong call, write your congressman, because it's not going to be able to be fixed, unfortunately. Game is already over. Looks like we're back for the start of the third inning, this time in time for the first pitch of the inning. After the Red Sox hometown crew wasn't able to get it back in time for their own pitcher in Rich Hill, how quickly he likes to move. Alexander on the mound. Verdugo takes the first pitch and flies it to center field. 1 pitch, 1 out, as Baddoo makes the catch in center. 27 pitches so far for Alexander. He's only struggled with location for about 4 of those pitches. He's done exactly what he wanted to do outside of that. Plawecki digs in. He's the catcher for the Red Sox in the number 8 hole today. Plawecki has kind of taken over as that starting catcher nowadays for the Red Sox, especially when Rich Hill is on the mound. Alexander misses inside with that first pitch. Plawecki, in 64 games last year, hit .287, 3 home runs. Doesn't have a lot of pop in the bat, but is more of an on-base guy, something you don't see very often in catchers. Most catchers are long ball or nothing, strikeout or nothing. So it's kind of nice to see a catcher who does hit for a solid average. 1-1 the count. Low ball 2, as Alexander misses his spot again. Maybe the Red Sox in the next half inning, as Alexander starts to tire a little bit and miss a few more spots, maybe they can finally get a hit. No base runners by either team yet in today's game. Plawecki flies out to right field on a lazy fly just in front of the warning track. Rich Hill getting up already as he understands it's time for me to get going. 2 outs in the inning. 9-hole hitter digging in for the Red Sox. No Trevor Story in the lineup today for the Red Sox. He usually will be your second baseman this season. Signed a 6-year deal with the Red Sox coming over from the Colorado Rockies. Arise digs in for him. He's the second baseman today. Takes strike 1 on the inside corner. Alexander delivers. Ball is hammered down the third base line, just foul by Arise. Just a note on Rich Hill, through 158 innings last year, becoming the 4th pitcher in the last 10 years to throw at least 150 into his 40s. If you can name the other three, that was kind of the trivia question that they had on the Red Sox broadcast today. Let us know in the comment section if you know those three other pitchers. Arise is out on a high strike, swung and miss, and Hill runs out of the dugout and is ready to go. This man does nothing slow, it looks like, and so we'll see how quickly the commercial break ends this time. Will the Red Sox hometown broadcast be able to get back in time for their starters' first pitch? Kind of interesting that they weren't there for three of them, but got to get in that ad money, I suppose. Just kind of looking around the league. Cubs are off to a nice start this year. They're 2-1. Pittsburgh is 1-2. They will play later on today. Cubs play a lot of afternoon baseball, so we'll try to cover them a little bit this year. I understand Tuesdays aren't exactly the weekend, so not all of you will be able to join us, but for those of you who are afternoon baseball, we will try to do at least one game a week of afternoon baseball for y'all. Yankees take on the Blue Jays later on tonight. Blue Jays are 3-1 on the season after they took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers and beat the Yankees last night. Yankees 2-2. One issue I have with them is that they didn't really invest in the huge contract, decided to split up the money a little bit. And the other issue, they don't have the starting pitching I think they're going to need to win the division. Now, of course, they could go after it at the deadline. If you're a Red Sox fan, I know you're not exactly cheering for the Yankees, but when the Yankees are good, baseball is usually good. And the rivalry games that you have between the Red Sox and Yankees are what the league counts on nowadays. You need both teams to be very good in order for the league to really succeed. Red Sox 1-3, looking to kind of improve on their record and live up to their end today. Rich Hill on the mound and dominating. No hits in the game through 2.5. Let us know in the comments section which team you're pulling for today, as Hill is on the mound, quickly ahead, 0-2. Breaks the bat of the Detroit Tigers hitter. And a strikeout. Rich Hill, again, dominant, moving quickly. Gets the strikeout of Baddoo. Baddoo out in front on that one. Not able to slow his bat speed down and be able to make contact or at least foul it off. 24 pitches so far for Hill. He does move very quickly, as we've mentioned a few times. I know my folks, whenever they watch a baseball game, the one thing they can't stand is all the wasted time and how long it takes for a half inning. If you have a team not even score, but just have longer at-bats, maybe just get a single or a walk, you're talking about a 30-minute half inning. That's very difficult to keep an audience around for that long a time. Hill, kind of a throwback, grabs the ball, throws it, and the ball gets down in between the two outfielders as he made a diving attempt there in right field. And a double here by Spencer Torkelson. Great job by lifting that ball to right center field by Torkelson. As we have the first hit of the day, kind of off the end of the bat as it flew into right center. And Arroyo wasn't able to catch up to that one, kind of knocked the ball a little bit away from the center fielder and allowed himself to get into second base. Just missed that one off the front edge of the glove. Torkelson should be a very good hitter in the majors. Get his first major league hit on that one there. And Tigers fans, you're going to have a lot to cheer for over the years. Spencer Torkelson, a #1 overall pick a couple years back, finally breaks camp with the big league team. First hit of the day goes to the rookie as Arroyo misses it there in right, and Hernandez tracked it down in center. He'll be one half of the young guys the Tigers are looking to have big years out of. Riley Green wasn't originally expected to break with the club today, or break with the club at spring training anyway. But his performance this spring, he was definitely ready to be in the bigs. But unfortunately, got injured and isn't able to be up at the moment. Hill quickly up 0-2 after surrendering the first hit of the game to the rookie. Backup catcher Garneau in there today for Detroit. No Tucker Barnhart. Barnhart came over from the Reds and is going to be your everyday catcher anyway for the Detroit Tigers this season. Hill taking his time now with a runner on second base. Hammered by the catcher into center, kind of off the inside of the bat and jammed him. Falls for a base hit, and Torkelson not able to continue going on to home because of the way that the outfielders were able to sell that they were able to make a play on it. Unfortunately, they were not. Garneau gets the second hit of the game, and Hill's in a little bit of trouble here as he allows the 8 and 9 hitters to reach. We flip the lineup over again, and Grossman comes up to the plate. Did not have a good first at bat, but maybe he turns it around here with some runners on. Catcher over there at first base, not really a threat to steal, so you don't have to worry about holding a man on. Only one out in the inning. Hill looking for a double play ball here from Grossman. Again, slows his pace down with the runners on now. Just off the inside corner, but called a strike anyway. Grossman shaking his head going, "You got to be kidding me," after he struck out in the first as well. 23 home runs on the year last year for Grossman. Looking to possibly drive in a run or two here if he gets an extra base hit. Rolls over it to third base. Fair ball. Run will score. Throw is on to first. Only play there. And Torkelson scores after getting his first career hit in the majors. It's 1-0 Detroit. Runner now on second base with 2 outs. As Scope comes up to the plate for the Tigers. Good baseball there, deep at third base. Just was not able to get this double play turned. Devers was playing a little bit far back, honestly. I was kind of expecting him to play in kind of a double play depth. He was not. If he had been, you may have been able to see that double play turned. Hill misses up and away, ball 1. Dahlbeck with a nice job digging that ball out, getting Grossman at first base. A little bit of a defensive miscue, honestly, as far as where they were lined up on that one. Rich Hill should be out of the inning if they had been lined up at the double play depth. But as it is, 1-0 Detroit, runner on second, and now he falls behind 2-0 on Scope as he starts to struggle with his location now in the third, just like Alexander did in the last half inning. Catcher sets up low and away. Pitch comes up and in. As again, he struggles with his location. Scope ahead, 3-0 now. Do you let Scope hit away here? You got Baez on deck. Or do you take all the way and hopefully get another runner on for your 3, 4, 5 hitters? There are 2 outs in the inning. Scope is a veteran, so maybe he'll be able to handle the swing away option. Taking all the way, though, and it's 3-1. Garneau, the catcher, on second base after Torkelson scored. 8 and 9 hitters causing the damage today. And then Grossman Ground ball to third base that honestly should have been a double play if Devers was playing at the right depth. But run does score and only one out was recorded. And Hill is still in trouble. Works back to a 3-2 count as the Schoop fouls one off to the third base side. Hill throwing a few pitches this inning, up to 36 now, but still not a lot for him. If you've watched him over the years, he does throw between 80 and 90 pitches in most of his starts, but it is early on in the season on a lockout-shortened spring training year. Maybe you don't get that same amount of pitches early on. So if you can get to the Red Sox early, maybe you can get to that bullpen a little bit quicker. Schoop fouls off another one back to the screen. Still 3-2. Right down the middle that one was. Primarily throws fastballs here to Schoop. Kind of a slider on that one. 69 miles an hour on the low inside corner there by Hill to Schoop. Schoop fouls it up over the netting behind the plate. Making Hill work here. Nice job by Schoop fouling off that close pitch. Waiting for something he can drive. A base hit here probably scores the run from second base, but again, it's not exactly a fleet-footed catcher at second base. Garneau is at second, but maybe something in the gap gets the job done. Hill turns and just walks back to second base a little bit to scare him back a little bit. Got a little bit too far off of second base for his liking. And the delivery. Schoop gets a hold of one down the first base line. Drops in front of Arroyo. Wow. Garneau does score. Schoop is held to a single, though, as it just fell in front of Arroyo again. 2 hits that have fallen in front of Arroyo today, or in this half inning, and Detroit leads it 2-0. As Rich Hill finds some trouble here and gives up a crooked number in the bottom of the third inning. Garneau was not paying attention, of course, because there is 2 outs. Might as well run around the bases. Scores easily. Schoop ecstatic that one fell in. Maybe that turns around the start to his season. Baez laces one to left center, over the head of the left fielder, goes to the wall, off the wall. Schoop coming around from first base, scores without a throw. Baez is into second. He continues the hot hitting after a strikeout in the first. And it's 3-0 Detroit, as Hill seems to be giving up some contact now. Possibly going to see a pitching or a mound visit here by the pitching coach of the Red Sox after another run scores here for the Red Sox. Candelario is the number 4 hitter coming up. Great job by Javi Baez. Absolutely smashed that ball. Wow. That was exactly how you draw up a wall ball there. And Schoop scores easily on the double by Baez. 3-0 Tigers. Almago cashes in here, wearing his traditional gold chain around the neck with the turtleneck collar that Detroit likes to wear. Rich Hill, a little bit exacerbated on the mound, showing some frustration. Candelario digging in, looking down at the third baseman for the sign. With no runners on, Hill has moved very quickly. When there's been runners on base, Hill slows down quite a bit. Candelario takes a curveball that bends over the low inside corner, strike 1. First hit of the game again was Spencer Torkelson. First hit of his career off the glove of Arroyo, who was diving in right field to try to make a play. Was not. Ball kind of trickled away from him just a little bit to center field where Hernandez picked it up. Torkelson was in there with a double, though. Garneau reached after that. First and third. And then Grossman grounded to third base. That probably should have been the end of the inning if Devers was playing a little bit closer in double play depth. Candelario drives one to center, kind of a lazy fly ball, and the inning is finally over for Rich Hill as Hernandez makes the catch. But again, 3 runs are already across in the inning. After that ground ball by Grossman that did not end it, the score was 1-0. Scope had kind of a a fly ball, lazy fly ball, fall in right along the first base line in right field. That scored another run. Garneau from second base. Scope was on first, and then Baez hammered the ball over the left center field, over the left fielder's head. Couldn't have hit that ball more on the screws than he did. And Scope scored easily from first without a throw. And after 3, it's Tigers 3 and the Red Sox 0. Well, not exactly the start the Red Sox were hoping for. Their bats hopefully will come around the second time through after having no success the first time through against Alexander, the young starter for Detroit. Tigers are going to need some of that young starting pitching to really come through this year if they're going to have any level of success. The lineup is going to have some nice pieces in it this year. Cabrera in probably his final year or two. The addition of Baez, Torkelson now at first base, Green coming up. They do have some bats that they are going to be able to use. Scope, of course, just had that professional at bat against Hill. Made him work. Pitch, I think it was a 7 or 8 pitch at bat to Scope there in that half inning. Hernandez will lead things off for the Red Sox in the top of the 4th. Alexander looking to kind of settle things down and shut the door, not allow any runs to score in kind of a shutdown inning that the Tigers need. Looks like we're coming out of commercial break as we speak. It's going to be an interesting battle for AL Rookie of the Year this year. Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals has played very well, both offensively and defensively. Spencer Torkelson breaks camp with the big league club here, gets his first major league hit, and scores later on in the half inning as Hernandez digs in against Alexander. Right down the middle, strike 1. 20 home runs last year for Hernandez. As Cora kind of looks for answers for his lineup, as Alexander gets another called strike there on the outside corner. 0-2 now to Hernandez. Looks like he's starting to find that location again a little bit. Low and away, the catcher sets up and misses a little too far outside. Misses by about 6-7 inches there. Not really a competitive pitch. Hernandez did play very well for the Red Sox last year, especially in the postseason. Of course, came over from the Dodgers. Hernandez hammers a ball down the left field line, but foul. Well back into the seats. 1-2 now the count to Hernandez. Appreciate all of you for joining us. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do so. Please and thank you. We've gained quite a few of you over the last few days. See if we can keep that momentum going as Hernandez grounds out to third base. Kind of rolled over on the pitch there. That does happen a lot for major league hitters. That's why you see with 2 strikes, kind of the shift become a little bit more dramatic to whichever side is the pull side for the hitter. Devers comes up, the best hitter in the lineup for the Red Sox, was mystified by Alexander in his first at-bat. Showed a lot of frustration both with where Alexander was throwing the ball, what the strike zone was for the umpire. Just did not look comfortable in the box at all in his first at-bat. Let's see how he does in his second time around. Well outside, ball 1. Devers kind of looking a little bit more calm in the box than he did the last time. Off the hands and into short left field over where the shortstop would have been playing if there hadn't been a shift. And he gets on. The first Red Sox hitter to reach today is, of course, Rafael Devers. Looked much more comfortable in the box this time than he did in his first at-bat. Kind of hits it off the handle of the bat there into left field. Just serves it over the infield there. And now we have Xander Bogaerts digging in, the shortstop for today. Entering the final year of his deal with the Red Sox. He's going to need to put up some numbers if he wants to get that contract that he's been hoping to get from the Red Sox. Of course, if he doesn't put up the numbers and wants more money and the Red Sox aren't willing to give it, they already have an in-house option now to take over that shortstop spot if they're unable to find an extension. Bogaerts hit .295 last year, 29 home runs, 79 RBIs. Very good all-around player for the Red Sox. Ooh, that was right at the top of the zone with robo-umps. That's probably called a strike. Kind of surprised that one wasn't, especially with the emphasis being to call the high strike. 2-0 now the count to Bogaerts with a runner on first in Devers. Ball 3, 3-0. Bogaerts gets ahead in the count now as Alexander starts to have a little bit of difficulty locating his off-speed pitches. J.D. Martinez, the DH, on deck. 0 for 1 so far in the game for him as well. Alexander set and delivers. Right down the middle. Kind of a get-me-over fastball there. 85 miles an hour fastball there. 3-1 now the count to Bogaerts. 1 out here in the fourth inning. 3-0 Detroit. Thank you guys for joining us here at the Upside as we watch the Boston Red Sox take on the Tigers as Bogaerts smashes a ball down the left field line, but foul. Devers has to go back to first base. 3-2 now the count to Bogaerts, number 3 hitter in the Red Sox lineup today. If you're just joining us, Alexander and Hill both worked very effectively in the first 2 innings. Alexander did start to lose a little bit of his control in the last half inning. Hill, of course, did give up the 3 runs in the third after having a ball go off the glove of Arroyo on a diving play in right field. Allowed Torkelson to get his first ever major league hit on a double there. Hernandez was able to field the ball after it trickled into center field off the glove of Arroyo. Garneau got a kind of a bloop fly ball single over the shortstop, and that's why Torkelson wasn't able to score because of how close that ball was to the infield. So it was first and third. Grossman hit a smash, or well, not really a smash, more of a ground ball to third base that I believe Devers should have been playing closer to double play depth. Because he was playing back, he wasn't able to flip the ball to second, so his only play was to first base, and that allowed the inning to continue and allowed Torkelson to score. Scope had a nice competitive at bat, I believe a 7 or 8 pitch at bat. Kind of hit a high fly ball down the right field line that fell in front of Arroyo, allowing another run to score. Excuse me, swing by Bogaerts, barehanded by Baez, on to first. Safe is the call. That might be reviewed. That was really close at first base, but nice play by Baez either way on a barehanded bang-bang play at first. Bogaerts, though, does beat it out. It looks like it's going to be first and second now for the Red Sox with only 1 out. Watching the replay now, and Bogaerts does beat the throw just in time, so I don't expect a review. On closer look, it wasn't that close of a play, but very nice attempt by Baez to try to get it done. Martinez does dig in, the former Tiger, against his former team. He's been in Boston, like I said, a number of years now, though. Third run scored when Baez did hit that smash right on the screws in the left center field gap, right over the head of the left fielder who tried to make a jumping attempt at it, but it went all the way to the wall. Scope scored from first, and that's why we're at 3-0. Alexander with a get-me-over fastball there to kind of get himself started again. Fastball. He's up to 49 pitches in the game. 3-0 Detroit. Runners on first and second. After Devers got the first hit of the game for the Red Sox. Bogaerts with the ground ball to short that he's able to beat it out. Ground ball to Baez, double play ball. 1, 2, 3. Boom. End of inning. Alexander gets exactly what he wanted there out of J.D. Martinez. Martinez does not run very fast, does ground into his fair share of double plays, and they entice one there. Baez easily makes the play onto second to Scope, and Scope flips it on to Torkelson for the double play. Into the half inning, but a little bit better there for the Red Sox, showing signs of life on offense finally against Alexander. Thanks again for joining us here at The Upside. Appreciate every single one of you who've joined us on a Tuesday afternoon to watch some afternoon baseball, Red Sox versus Tigers. We did watch the Rangers versus Blue Jays on Sunday. Try to bring you one game during the week, kind of an afternoon game, maybe do an evening game every now and again. Sunday, of course, we'll try to do an afternoon baseball game as well. Try to check in on every team as the season just gets underway. So far, Detroit 3, Boston 0. The AL East should be very competitive this year. We already mentioned the Yankees and Blue Jays are head-to-head tonight. Yankees are 2-2 on the young season. Blue Jays 3-1. Boston 1-3, but again, it's only 4 games that they played so far. Tampa figures to be in the mix as well. Only team that shouldn't be in the mix anyway, at least on paper, Baltimore Orioles. They just have a lot of young talent that they're going to need to develop. Audrey Rushman is the catcher, I believe, the catcher prospect for the Baltimore Orioles. He should have a nice year this year. He's going to be called up to the big league club. And as I mentioned, the AL Rookie of the Year race is going to be very competitive. So if you're looking for a reason why to watch Orioles games, he would be the reason why. Cedric Mullins as well. Had a career breakout year last year with the Orioles. Trey Mancini in his final year with the Orioles, the former cancer survivor. Well, cancer survivor anyway. Miguel Cabrera digs in. In the dirt is the curveball from Hill, ball 1. Cabrera did strike out in the second. Had a nice laugh with both the catcher and umpire in his last at-bat. Cabrera enjoying the game so far today. Up and in, but Cabrera still able to extend his hands, but hits a lazy fly ball to center and is retired for the first out of the inning. Good start here for Hill as he shares a laugh with Miguel Cabrera as he jogs back to the dugout. Cora looking for a nice bounce-back inning from his starter, Rich Hill. Number 6 hitter, Eric Haas, left fielder today. Digging in, got a ground ball in the second inning to end the inning. High strike there to Haas anyway. Rich Hill working quickly again now that there's no runners on. Can't really tell if he's using the pitch com or not, or if it's just throwing down a sign and ripping the ball in there. Curveball on the low outside corner again. This one is a little bit low according to the umpire. However, with robo-umps, that one would also have been called a strike. Detroit looking to expand their lead from 3-0 here in the bottom of the 4th, excuse me. Bottom of the strike zone again. I don't know what was different about that pitch for the home plate umpire, but he called that one a strike anyway, but looked like the correct call this time. 1-2 now the count on Haas. Hill again ripping and throwing. Hits the ball hard to center field, but again, Hernandez is there. 2 outs in the inning. Hernandez will play center field a lot this year. Jackie Bradley Jr. was brought over from the Brewers. He will probably fill in from time to time at any one of the outfield spots. Not anymore, or doesn't have the bat that he used to have with the Red Sox, but he should be a good defender this year for them. If you're a Red Sox fan, have a lot of nostalgia tied in with him. A little bit surprising, though, to see them give up a prospect and Hunter Renfroe in order to bring him back. Does have a big contract. I believe it's in the final year of that deal, though, as Baddoo swings and misses at a ball in the dirt. Baddoo last year in 124 games, 259 average, 13 home runs. If you remember early on in the season, he had kind of a Play of the Year candidate. Smashes the ball down the third base line, dumps in front as the left fielder tries to slide and break or cut off the ball, misses it as Baddoo tries to go for third. Throw comes in, gets away from the third baseman Devers, but he's going to hold up there and hold on to third base there. Miguel Cabrera showing his appreciation for the hustle from Baddoo. Not sure if they'll call that one a triple. That looked more like a double and then an error by the left fielder as he allowed that ball to get away from him and go to the sidewall there along the third base line. Verdugo misplays it there. Verdugo was the one big piece that the Red Sox did get for Mookie Betts in that trade with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Baddoo losing his bucket as he rounds second base. Devers unable to corral the throw. The throw did beat him, but it was offline, so Baddoo kind of pressing that defense, forcing them to make a perfect play, and Verdugo was unable to do so there after he saw the ball squirted away from him to the wall there. Verdugo unhappy with himself that he's unable to stop that ball first or cut it off, allowing the runner to advance to third. 0-1 now to Torkelson as he digs in for his second at bat. 1-1 now as the ball misses up and away. Torkelson, if you remember, got the game started for the Tigers with a double off the glove of Arroyo in right. Smashes it to short this time. Bogaerts is there, though, on to first, and that's the end of the inning. Nothing comes of the Baddoo double, triple, whatever you want to call it. The misplay by Verdugo in left. Hill has got to be very unhappy with his defense that he's seen so far. Devers unable to play in the proper position and record the out in the inning in the last half inning. Can't really fault Arroyo for going off of his glove on a diving catch. He gave it his all. But that play by Verdugo, again, unable to secure the ball in front of him, allows the runner to get an extra 90 feet. Nothing comes of it, though, so Hill able to escape it, but he's looking for more out of his defense than a couple of misplays. And the Red Sox will be up in the next half inning, looking to build off of the momentum they built with Devers and Bogaerts reaching in the fourth. Let us know in the comment section what you think of the Red Sox chances this year. Do you think they're able to make the playoffs? Do you think they make the wild card? Where do you see them finishing? Do they get the division crown? I don't see them taking the division, but I see them being very competitive at least until September. Depends on what they do at the deadline and how successful Trevor Story is coming to Boston. If Bogaerts can have one of those breakout years that you see a lot in contract years for players. J.D. Martinez, of course, needs to have a solid year as a designated hitter. Health is the big issue, though, for the pitching staff. Chris Sale was not able to break camp with the club, having another injury after he missed a lot of time last year due to injury. But it should be an interesting season for the Boston Red Sox. They play one more in Detroit this week, have a day off, and then travel back home for their home opener against the Twins. The Twins did have Gary Sanchez get his first hit as a Twin on Sunday with a grand slam. Kind of broke the game open against the Mariners on Sunday. Carlos Correa hit his first home run with the Minnesota Twins the other day as well, as Bobby Dahlbeck takes ball one here in the top of the fifth inning. Alexander looking for another shutdown inning after having a rocky one last half inning. Got the double play by Martinez to get out of it. On the outside corner, fouled off by Dahlbeck down the first base line. 0 for 1 on the day so far for Dahlbeck, lined out to second base in the second inning. And the pitch. Bottom of the strike zone, Dahlbeck way out in front. Looks like an off-speed pitch, possibly a changeup there by Alexander. Good ball-strike mix for Alexander. 35 strikes, 18 balls. Had Dahlbeck way out in front. Mystified him there on that pitch. 1-2, up and away. Looked like he was trying to raise the eye level of Dahlbach there, but just not competitive there. Dahlbach, though, does succeed very much so against breaking balls. A .725 slugging percentage. It's the 5th best in Major League Baseball. Alexander set, fires in the dirt. Dahlbach misses. Can't tell if they're calling that or not. Anyway, either way, it's going to be 2-2 now to Dahlbach. 55 pitches now for Alexander as we're in the 5th inning. Tigers bullpen should be in good shape as we go down the rest of the way in this game. Dahlbach unable to catch up to that changeup, way behind on that one at 83 miles an hour. Dahlbach just was mystified after that first foul ball that he hit. Alexander had him guessing the whole way. Looks like Alexander's settled back in again. Red Sox are going to need to get something going here as they approach the bottom half of their lineup again. Maybe they can get some production out of them, just like the Tigers did back in the 3rd inning. Verdugo takes strike 1. Arroyo takes strike 1, sorry. Fouls off the pitch down the first base side again. Strike 2 now. Alexander out front. Arroyo last year in 57 games, 6 home runs, hit .262, but again, he's more of a multi-faceted player, plays kind of like a utility player, plays everywhere you need him to. Alexander, fastball up and away. Arroyo fouls it off and stays alive. 3-0 here in the top of the 5th. 0-2 count on Arroyo with 1 out. Red Sox were finally able to get a hit the last half inning with Devers and Bogarts reaching. And Arroyo grounds out to Baez at short. Ooh, Baez with a little risky throw over to first, but Torkelson able to bring it in anyway and retire Arroyo. Kind of a nonchalant sidearm flip by Baez over to first base. Almost pulled Torkelson off the bag, but not quite. Torkelson will be the first baseman of the future now for the Tigers, taking over for Cabrera. Cabrera is now strictly a designated hitter as Verdugo digs into the box. 13 home runs last year, .289 average in 146 games. We mentioned that he was the main piece coming back from Mookie Betts in that trade with the Dodgers. Verdugo is one of the pieces that they vowed never to trade, at least the Dodgers said anyway. But for a player like Bogarts, MVP level player, you're willing to give up whatever you have to get something like that. Verdugo hits a smash down to the left fielder, but right to Eric Haas, and he's quickly retired. On to the bottom of the 5th, Detroit 3, Boston 0. Afternoon baseball here on a Tuesday afternoon. Appreciate all of you for joining us here at the Upside. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do so. We appreciate all of you who've joined our community in the past few days. Thank you very much. If you already have, hit that subscribe button. But don't be afraid. Send us a question or comment. What do you think about the game so far? You think Rich Hill's going to stay in the game for how much longer? You think Alexander can keep this up for a 162-game season? For 30 starts? I don't know. But today he looks pretty good against the Red Sox. They might have found something here in the rotation at least for the Detroit Tigers. They're going to need some of these arms that you don't really know about to have a nice year if they're going to compete for a playoff spot. Remember, there is an extra wild card spot this year. After the lockout was over and the collective bargaining agreement was agreed to, they agreed to add 1 extra playoff team per league. The league wanted to have 14 playoff teams, but they ended up settling on 12. Three wild cards in each league. You'll remember they originally started out with just 1 years ago, and then expanded it to 2, and then there was the tournament-style playoffs that they had during the during the COVID-shortened season of 2020, where 8 teams in each league made it. That was very, very competitive, fun baseball to watch that year. But you're not going to have great teams every year in that style of playoff. So the players wanted to kind of limit the number of teams that could make the postseason. Looks like we're back from break. Chaim Bloom, the Boston Red Sox general manager, in attendance today. Tomorrow he'll see his former starting pitcher Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for the Tigers against Nate Eovaldi. Rodriguez takes over as the ace of the Tigers staff, making his second start of the year. Rich Hill on the mound, quickly set and delivers up and in. Ball one. You always have to come to a set position before you throw the ball. Hill shakes him off and then quickly winds and throws. Outside corner, fouled straight back into the catcher's mitt. Strike one. Dustin Garneau, remember, got that single in the third, kind of a blue pit over the shortstop's head that allowed Torkelson to get to third. And then later scored on the hit by Scope down the right field line. 2-1 now to the catcher. He is the backup catcher for the Tigers this year. Tucker Barnhart came over from the Reds. He'll be your everyday catcher. Very nice defensive player in Barnhart. But Garneau gets your start today. Garneau fouls off the tough curveball down and in. Probably swung at a ball there, but makes contact to even the count at 2-2. Rich Hill's curveball is one of the best in the game as far as overall drop. Kind of a 12-6 style anyway, but has a little bit of an angle on it. So instead of a typical curveball coming in like this, his curveball comes in a little bit more of a steep angle like that. A traditional 12-6 comes from top to bottom, 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So he gets a little bit more plane on his pitch, which makes it a very effective pitch for Rich Hill. If you remember the days of when you were younger about playing in either little leagues or high school or college baseball, all the different grips that you could have had in order to throw a baseball a different way. Rich Hill at 42 years old now has learned every grip that you could possibly want to know and is able to create plane on his pitch as Boston gets the bullpen going here. He is 42 years old and is coming off of a lockout shortened spring training, already at 60 pitches. I don't expect him to ever really reach 90 or 100 pitches in a game, so this might be getting close to his limit as Garneau fouls off yet another pitch. Rich Hill does look like he's wearing down, breathing hard now. It's one thing managers like to look for is your location, effort, and your delivery. If you're overstriding or if you're breathing a little too heavy, there's nobody on base, so it's not really a stressful situation. It's just he's starting to wear down. Looks like he tried to go with a slider there, 71-mile-an-hour slider. Garneau fouls it off down the third base line. Still keeps it at 2-2. Let us know what you think of the Tigers' performance so far today. Bottom of the order, getting the job done. Torkelson getting the first hit of the game and then scoring after he's got his first ever major league hit on the ground ball by Grossman, a third baseman Devers. Another foul ball by Garneau, and this is probably going to be either the last or second to last batter for Hill. A lot of pitches being thrown here as he works the count. 63 pitches so far for Hill on the day as Boston is trailing 3-0 here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Hill has struggled with his location as the game has worn on. Moves very quickly. Ooh! Garneau makes solid contact with that one, but pops it almost straight up in the air. Third baseman Devers is there and retires him as Devers checks his hand. Looks like that one was a little hard coming back down on him. And we're back around to the top of the lineup with Robbie Grossman digging in. The question will be is whether or not Rich Hill actually faces him or not, as Boston already has that bullpen going. Rich Hill strides and delivers. Outside by about 4 inches off the plate, up and away to Robbie Grossman. Grossman 0 for 2 on the day, 1 for 17 on the young season, 23 home runs last year. But he's probably not going to be around long term for this team. Seems like one of those veterans you signed to get to keep the younger guys in the minors and allow them to get seasoning. Riley Green will probably be up before the end of the month if his health recovers in time. Hill, frustrated with himself on that one, falls behind 3-0 as he has that curveball sink all the way into the dirt, stretching out his back. Looks like he might be getting a little stiff in the back as well. If he walks him here, you're probably going to see a pitching change. Ooh, up and in, but called a strike. Grossman tossed his bat and was starting to undo his protective gear, but called strike, so he has to dig back in. Hill frustrated with himself that he missed his spot again, but happy with the strike nonetheless. 68 pitches on the day for Rich Hill. 69 is right in there as Grossman takes all the way right down the middle. 3-2 now. Looks like they're going to let Rich Hill's pitch count try to get up there a little bit and get to that bullpen of Boston. In the dirt, Grossman offers at it, but first base umpire says he did not go around. So that's a walk for Rich Hill. Alex Cora out of the dugout, and as we suspected, we're going to have a pitching change for Boston here. It's like Sawamura, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, is going to come out of the bullpen for the Red Sox. Rich Hill gives up 3 runs in 4 1/3 innings today. 42-year-old lefty pitched very well in the first few innings, but ran into some trouble. Last inning and a half, started to lose his command a little bit. Struggled with runners on base as it affected his rhythm. And then just wore down as the 5th inning wore on there. Garneau had a nice at-bat there to stretch out that pitch count, and they chased the starter, Rich Hill, with 1 out here in the 5th inning. Let us know in the comment section what you think about the Red Sox so far. Rich Hill unable to get through 5 today, giving up 3 runs. Red Sox offense only mustering a couple of hits through 5 today. Should be an interesting finish to this one if the bullpen can hold up for Boston. That'd be a welcome sign for them. Looks like most teams nowadays would be much rather face a bullpen early and force you to use some of those arms. You don't use that often in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Today, the Tigers were able to get their job done and get Hill out of there before the conclusion of the 5th inning. Most teams will throw out that starting pitcher that's that long reliever, doesn't get a lot of innings here and there, just to see if they can get through the 6th inning so they can get to their A bullpen. If not, then they have their B bullpen for when they're behind in a game. Then, of course, they have that long reliever for the games when they're down 8-0 and just trying to finish out the game. You don't want to see position players pitch too much anymore. Just injury risks, those kinds of things. That's why the DH is now in both leagues. First year that the DH is going to be in both the American League and the National League this year. Allows Albert Pujols to go back to his former club in the St. Louis Cardinals. He's looking for his 21 home runs to reach 600 this year, I believe. Just like Miguel Cabrera is trying to get 9 more hits to reach 3,000 hits in his career. So let us know what you think about the game so far, what you think about Alexander pitching very well for the Tigers. Reminds me a little bit of a Jordan Zimmerman type with the Washington Nationals, or a very young Justin Verlander. Just doesn't have the speed of him, but just the way he's able to move in and out of hitters. Very good start today. Not saying that Alexander will ever be either one of those pitchers. Tigers fans know all too well how things did not work out with Jordan Zimmerman and how well things worked out with Jordan Verlander. He probably finished his career somewhere in between, obviously. Sawamura into the game, 55 games last year, 5-1 record, 306 earned run average, and 53 innings worth of work. Does struggle with command every now and again. Hey, that looked really painful. Scope just fouled off the pitch right off the inside of his ankle as he falls to the ground and then tries to walk it off. That looked really painful. Even the pitcher threw his hands on his head. Oh, that was off the inside of his shin, it looked like. Red Sox pitcher even grabbed his head with both of his hands after he saw that one. Crumpled Scope to the ground. Still trying to walk it off now with the training crew out there checking on him. AJ Hinch out of the dugout. Scope says, nope, go back. I got it. And walks back to the batter's box. Who says Major League Baseball players aren't tough? Digs back in. No throw by Sawamura over to first base with Grossman on. One thing Grossman does bring at this point of his career is the speed game. One out, runner at first for Detroit as Scope digs back in. The pitch, very low, but Scope was somehow able to foul that one off down the first base line. 0-2 now to the Tigers' second baseman. Scope has played at a number of different spots now in his career, bounced around a little bit as he's gotten a little bit older. Javi Baez, who hit that ball into the left center field gap, is waiting on deck. Has had a nice start to his career with the Detroit Tigers. Still has that issue with swing and miss, but when he does make contact, he will obliterate the ball. We've seen both outcomes of that today. The pitch popped up as the runner was going. And it's a double play because in foul territory, Devers makes the catch and throws it on to first after the runner was going, slid into second base. Grossman thought the ball was traveling into the seats and did not hustle back to first base. Saw that Devers still had a play on it and then tried to burn it at the very end and was unable to get back in time. And that's the end of the inning. A little bit of a blunder there by Grossman on the base paths. Known for his speed and did showcase it getting down the line. Kind of lollipopped it on the way back to second and wasn't able to turn it on quick enough in order to get back in time. Well, thanks again for joining us here for afternoon baseball here at the Upside Sports Network. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do so. We'll try to bring you at least one afternoon baseball game a week. Unfortunately, we still have jobs outside of the Upside Sports Network, But eventually, once this channel gets enough of y'all to follow, we could possibly do more of this on a regular basis for you guys. We really do enjoy every single one of you who joined us. Appreciate all the support that we've gotten. Cover all four of the major sports out there: baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. Basketball, of course, has their play-in tournament tonight, the 7-8 matchups in both the East and the West. Should be some very competitive games, Timberwolves and Clippers. And then I believe it's the Hawks and Nets, but I could be wrong. But the Nets play at home tonight. Kevin Durant looking to secure himself in there as that number 7 seed. Winner of these games goes in there at the 7 seed. The loser is not out of the playoffs. However, they will be down to a sudden death type of a matchup when the 9-10 games play tomorrow. Then I believe on Friday we're going to have the game between the winner of that 9-10 game and the loser of the 7-8 game go at it to take the 8th spot in the playoffs. Phoenix is the number 1 seed in the West. They will take on the 8th seed, whoever that turns out to be. They're by far the best team in the regular season.
They give us love.
As we wait for the commercial break to end here. But thanks again for joining us here for afternoon baseball here on a Tuesday afternoon. 3-0 Detroit does have the advantage. Rich Hill was taken out there in the 5th inning. Looks like the stream's having a little bit of difficulty as we get back. There we go. Looks like a bunt attempt to move a runner over here as we get the start of the 6th inning. We try to catch back up as the stream reloads for the game. Watching the Boston Red Sox broadcast. Plawecki moves down to second base on the bunt attempt by Arise. Looks like he was bunting more for a hit there than anything else, but does get the runner over. Tried to bunt it past the pitcher, unable to push it far enough with Plawecki moving on the pitch. Alexander does make a nice play there, flipping it over to the second baseman who was covering at first base. As Kike Hernandez digs in. Ball 1 to Hernandez with Plawecki on second base and 1 out. In the dirt, ball 2. Hernandez gets ahead as Detroit gets the bullpen going now. Here in the top of the 6th, Alexander has pitched very well in his first start of the year. But again, it's still early in the season, so you're not going to see too many 100-pitch counts early on. You don't really see too many of those anymore anyway, just because Major League Baseball has kind of gone to more of a max effort type of approach to pitching. Ooh, Hernandez not happy with that one. Turns and talks to the umpire on the outside corner at the top of the zone. It did catch that corner if the robo-ump was there, so don't really see the argument there for Hernandez outside of it being a little bit of a mislocation there by Alexander. And just another strike there by Alexander. Hernandez took a big ol' hack at that one and missed. 2-2 now, 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Devers, who was mystified by Alexander in his first at-bat, looked much more comfortable in his second at-bat, giving the Red Sox their first hit of the game. He is on deck, best player in the Red Sox lineup, so Alexander would really like to retire Hernandez here. But Hernandez does hit the ball down the right field line and falls in. Plawecki will score. Red Sox are on the board. The shutout is over. Hernandez looks like he's going to go into second base with a double there. 3-1 Detroit in front of the Red Sox. And that might do it there for Alexander, as they already have the bullpen going. Alexander has pitched well in this game, but they're finally starting to string a few things together here for the Red Sox. Goes off the Little Caesar sign in the right field corner as Plawecki easily jogs his way home from second base. Alexander unhappy with himself there after he gave up a 2-2 hit there to Hernandez as Devers steps in. Oh, he tried to tie it on one swing, and Alexander knew that's what he was going for. Threw it low and away outside the zone, and Devers swung and missed at that one. Garrett Whitlock up for the Red Sox in the bullpen for them. Looks like he'll take over in the next half inning. And the pitch. Devers lays off the same type of a pitch this time. Takes a deep breath, tries to calm himself down, get his approach back in control. 38 home runs in 156 games last year for Devers. A home run here would tie the game and really excite Red Sox fans. Tigers fans hoping to shut things down here. Devers hammers a pitch on the inside corner up the middle. Hernandez will score a bobble in right field, but Devers looks like he's going to stay at first base after feigning a move there. Hinch quickly out of the dugout and makes a move for the bullpen. He didn't even wait for time to be called before he was up out of that bullpen or up out of that dugout and making a move to the bullpen for Alexander. Alexander's starting to give up some hard contact. A good start for him overall. Hopefully, A.J. Hinch wasn't too late in making this pitching change, though, as Hernandez scores from second base on the Devers single. Devers 2 for 3 on the day. Another multi-hit game in the young career of Rafael Devers. A lot of multi-hit games for a lot of number of players, a lot of the stars in the league. Corey Seager has multi-hit games, I believe, in almost every single game he's played for the Rangers, except for one. A nice start to his career in Texas. Jose Altuve has always been a hit machine for the Houston Astros. Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman for the Dodgers, along with Trey Turner. 1, 2, 3 in that lineup. Will probably have a number of multi-hit games this season as well. That's probably the best 1, 2, 3 in any order in baseball. Betts your leadoff hitter, Freeman your two-hole hitter, and Turner at 3. Red Sox, though, looking to tie the game here. Going to have Xander Bogaerts up with Devers on first base. We'll see when they come out of the commercial break who the new pitcher is for the Detroit Tigers. Entertaining game, good pitching matchup to start the game. And then the hitting is finally starting to take over in the 4th and 5th and the beginning of the 6th here. Kind of the exact opposite of what we saw in the Rangers-Blue Jays game on Sunday. If you're interested in looking at that live stream and what we did during that watch party, please go to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, and take a look. It was a very entertaining game. 15 runs in the first 5 innings. Not saying we'll get 15 runs in the next couple innings here, but it's gotten a little bit more interesting now that we've seen Boston kind of come to life in the last inning and a half. Detroit at home today, playing against Boston. Boston still hasn't played a game at home yet. They open their season against the New York Yankees. 1-3 on the young season, hoping to avoid a 1-4 start. A lot of Red Sox fans in the Detroit crowd today. Afternoon game doesn't have a full crowd, but a nice crowd for both teams nonetheless. Jacob Barnes on the hill, 29 games last year between the Mets and Blue Jays. 628 earned run average last year. A lot of hits. Doesn't struggle with command that much, though. Only 11 walks to 33 strikeouts. So we'll see if he can find a little bit more success here with the Detroit Tigers, avoid a few more barrels. Bogaerts did not like that one. That one is at the bottom of the zone. Major League Baseball, again, trying to rule out that, or trying to get away from that low strike call. That was always there the whole way. 295 average last year for Bogaerts, 23 homers, 79 RBIs. The pitch is in the dirt, bounces well to the left side of into the left-handed batter's box there. 1-1 the count. Devers staying put at first. One out here in the top of the 6th. 3-2 Detroit on top, as Barnes has come out of the bullpen for the starter, Alexander. Bogaerts digs back in. Barnes takes a dramatic deep look into first base, set, and delivers. Bogaerts hammers the pitch, but right at his own dugout. Foul ball. 1-2 now the count. Barnes getting ahead of the hitter, Bogaerts here. And again, a lot of milling around. This is the one thing I think baseball could police a little bit better, is just eliminating a lot of this milling around. Say batter, you have this amount of time to get in the box. Pitcher, you have this amount of time to deliver the pitch. That might be one of the other things that we see baseball do in the next few years. The pitch clock is coming. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, has already said. And that pitch lands again in the left-handed batter's box, but this time the catcher isn't able to get in front, and it goes all the way to the backstop without a throw. Devers moves to second base. 2-2 now the count on Bogaerts with now a runner in scoring position. Looks like Garreau just made a terrible attempt at trying to block that ball. Just moved his glove instead of trying to get his body in front of that one. Devers wasn't even trying to go on that one, but once he sees it go towards the backstop, he jogged into second base without any trouble. Barnes has been a little bit wild here. Thrown two of them that have bounced in the left-handed hitter's batter's box so far in this at-bat. Devers now on second base in scoring position. A single here scores him and ties this game. Bogaerts pops the pitch up. That's on the outside corner, though. Baez is there. Two hands, just like you teach it in Little League. Makes the catch. As Scope has a little bit of fun with Devers trying to tag him with it anyway. And J.D. Martinez digs in. 2 outs now in the top of the sixth. 3-2 is the score. Alexander, all he can do is look on and discuss that he wasn't able to complete the inning. But he had a nice start today. At worst, he leaves the game with a no decision if the runner Devers scores. If not, 5 1/3, 2-run baseball. Nice job by Alexander in his season debut. Barnes, that one was off the plate by 2 or 3 inches, but got called a strike against Martinez. Martinez does not turn around and look at the umpire, but does kind of grimace a little bit. That pitch was very close, though, from one camera angle, but according to the pitch tracks, was at least a couple inches off the plate. Robo umps next year would have gotten that one correct. Today's umpires, though, a little bit more subjective. Bounces that one in the left-handed hitter's batter's box again, as Barnes can't seem to locate his slider. All 3 of them have bounced in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. It looks like it was an attempt at a slider anyway. I don't know what you would actually call that. Kind of just took a nosedive for the batter's box. Garreau this time does get the body over in front. I'm sure A.J. Hinch looked at him and said, excuse me, would you mind getting in front of that one next time after he let the last one pass? Barnes is set, and the delivery to Martinez. Hammers the ball down the right field line. Will it stay fair? It does, and Devers will score a no decision by a nice start by Alexander, and we have a brand new ball game, a double down the right field line for Martinez. Basically the identical same hit that Hernandez had to get the scoring started for the Red Sox, and we have a 3-3 ball game in the top of the sixth. 2 outs still. Dahlback coming up. We'll see if they keep Martinez in. I believe they will. It's still early on in the game. You don't need that run that badly yet. But a very nice hit. Looks like it hit right off the chalk. We'll see if the Tigers challenge this or not, but it looks like it did hit the chalk. Saw a little bit of a white powder pop up when it did bounce. As Devers jogs around third base and in. Tigers make another call to the bullpen to at least get another arm up, as Barnes seems to be a little bit wild. Only has one pitch that he seemed to be able to throw for a strike right now. And the Tigers are going to challenge it. I could have sworn I saw a little bit of chalk pop up there, but looking a little bit closer at it now. Oh, that was close. I still see a little bit of chalk in the air, though, on the replay. At least that's what it looks like from that angle. Looking a little bit closer at it, yep, to me it still looks like it hits the chalk. I can't. It's right there, though. It's either right on the chalk, the edge of the outside of the chalk line, or just barely in foul territory. A big moment here. Obviously for both teams. Red Sox trying to tie the game up. Tigers trying to take the run off the board here by challenging it. As we look at the umpires now with the headpieces on and the mic. Well, this one's not going to be as controversial as last night anyway, with Mitch Garver's slide into second base. It'll be more of a clear cut. Was it fair? Was it foul? Either you believe it hits that chalk outline down the foul pole or down the first base line, or you believe, or it doesn't. To me, though, it looks like it does strike a little bit of chalk. The divot that they're showing, though, looks like it's just barely in foul territory. Who knows? Maybe it's just a trick of the light. But what are they going to call here? They're going to call it a fair ball. Detroit loses the challenge, and we have a 3-3 game here in the top of the sixth. Everything is brand new as Barnes was not able to shut the door for Alexander. Alexander pitched very well today. Does leave with a no decision, though, after Barnes gives up the time run. Bobby Dahlbeck digs in. Still 2 outs, though. Red Sox trying to take the lead now with Martinez in scoring position. You remember Dahlbeck did hit that go-ahead home run against the Yankees to take the victory on Sunday Night Baseball for their first victory of the season. Up and in, but what? That wasn't a strike? That was well within the strike zone. The umpire just must have missed something, I guess. Blinked at the wrong time. Tigers fans, I would be upset about that one. That was all the way in the strike zone. It wasn't even that close. Dahlbeck takes, and it's ball 1. Can't do anything about it now. Right on the outside corner. Strike 1 evens the count now at 1-1 here in the top of the 6th inning. See if Barnes can finally get that slider over. If not, it'll bounce in the left-handed hitter's batter's box again. And we'll see if Garreau can stay in front of it this time. Looks like he throws the fastball well off the plate this time. Ball 2. The one pitch he has been able to throw for a strike has been that fastball since he's come in. Showing replays of that base hit by Martinez down the line. I still think I see a chalk pop up in the air just like you usually do when it's hit on the line. Just off the plate, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, low and in to Dahlbeck. 3-1 now, the count. 25 home runs last year in 133 games for Dahlbeck. He's probably going to be more of a everyday first baseman, a little bit less platooning for Dahlbeck. Early on in the season, he was a little bit platoon for last year. This year, he's going to be there every day, so we'll see what he does for 162. 240 average last year. Barnes is set for the 3-1. Ooh, very nice. That one looked like a slider that he was able to control that time. 87 mile-an-hour pitch there. Brings it to a full count, 3-2. Christian Arroyo on deck is 0 for 2 in the game so far today. Red Sox would like to see Dahlbeck get on and extend this inning. Tigers would like to reset and get started in the bottom half of their inning. Barnes is set. Martinez takes a little bit further lead off of second base. The pitch hammered by Dahlbeck into left center, but that's where they had him played. As Haas falls and makes the catch, he stumbled on himself and still made the play. Wow, that was surprising. Entertaining 6th inning there. Tigers coming up to bat after 3 runs come across in the half inning. It's now 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Let us know in the comment section what you think about the Red Sox coming back and tying it up here. Now will the bullpen be able to do their part and hold up? The Tigers look like they were just trying to get more pitches on Hill as the game wore on. They were able to get him out of the game. Garrett Whitlock was warming in the bullpen in the last half inning. He probably comes on and pitches the bottom of the 6th, but we'll see how much success the Tigers do have. Just to kind of recap things, Torkelson got things started for the Tigers in the bottom of the 3rd inning, getting his first ever major league hit off the glove of a diving Christian Arroyo in right field. Ball trickled into center and allowed him to get to second base for his first ever hit, a double. The catcher, Garneau, got a fly ball, or kind of a lazy fly ball pop over shortstop that fell and allowed the Torkelson to advance to 3rd. Devers wasn't playing at double play depth, which probably would have allowed the Red Sox to turn a double play and avoid 2 runs being scored. in that inning anyway by the Detroit Tigers. But unfortunately, Grossman's was the only out that they were able to get as Garneau advanced to second base. Scope hit a fly ball after an 8 or 9 pitch at bat against Hill, expanded his pitch count, and got a 2-run lead. And then Baez got the 3rd run of the inning by smashing a ball over the left fielder's head in the left center field gap. And we had 3-0 lead until the last half inning, where Alexander, who had a nice start today, got through 5 1/3, however, leaves with a no decision after the bullpen is unable to shut things down in the top half of the 6th inning. Players of the game so far: Alexander, the starter for Detroit, very nice start for him. Baez has hammered a couple of balls today. Rafael Devers is 2 for 3 in the game with a strikeout. Obviously did score in the last half inning. And it does look like Garrett Whitlock is on for the Boston Red Sox here in the bottom of the 6th. 46 games last year, 8-4 record, 1.96 ERA in 73 innings. Very nice year last year. 81 strikeouts in those 73 innings. Ball 1 in the dirt for Whitlock, as the young former Rule 5 draft pick, I believe, for Boston breaks the bat of the Tigers hitter, splits the defenders, but somehow the second baseman Arise is able to get it, flip it on to the pitcher who is covering at first, and just beats the throw as Baez is, or excuse me, just beats the runner as Baez is out at first base. Nice pitch there by Whitlock, able to shatter the bat of Baez. Baez unable to get down the line fast enough, as Arise was able to flip it on to the pitcher covering. Nice job holding the toe on the bag. One out now in the bottom of the 6th. 3-3 is our score. Detroit tied with the Red Sox. Candelario steps in. Switch hitter now bats from the left side, now that the righty is in the game. High ball 1 on a kind of a, looks like a kind of a lollipopped curve ball. Well up out of the strike zone and then almost fell for a strike. Beneath the knees, ball 2, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. 149 games last year for Candelario, 271 average, 16 home runs, and a very anemic offense last year for the Tigers. That's why they decided to supplement it with younger players, such as Torkelson and Green eventually when he's healthy. Barnhart, of course, the defensive catcher from the Reds, came over this offseason as well. The big addition, though, Eduardo Rodriguez is now their ace from the Boston Red Sox, who pitched very well in the postseason for them last year. 3-1 now the count to Candelario from Whitlock as he pumps in his get-me-over fastball. Whitlock did just sign that long-term extension, so he'll be with the Red Sox for a number of years. Swing and a miss by Candelario, 3-2 now. The other big addition for the Tigers was, of course, Javi Baez. He was one of the 5 big free agent shortstops on the market, and Detroit wanted to get one. There were some rumors that would have been Carlos Correa. They did offer him a 10-year, $275 million deal, and it did look like it might have been a competitive offer, but Correa wanted to go after the contract that Corey Seager got from the Rangers, 10 at $325. Tigers weren't willing to go to that level. Correa fired his agent during the lockout and hired Scott Boras, and ended up with a 3-year deal, $105 million, to end up with the Twins, with an opt-out after the first and second year. Cabrera is up, looking to get his first hit of the day, stuck on 291 at the moment, or excuse me, 2,991. Don't know what that swing was. That pitch was bounced or way outside on the left, or curveball was way outside, and Cabrera swung and missed at that one. Runner on first as Cabrera digs back in. Another curveball, low. This time Cabrera lays off. That one looked a lot more competitive, but Cabrera able to see that pitch a little bit better. 1-1 the count now. As they show the milestones for Miguel Cabrera, 502 home runs, 2,991 hits. Fouls off the high fastball, and that one will get out of play as Dahlbach gives it a look. Nice play by the fan there, getting in the hat off a bounce as he reached back and caught it. Miguel Cabrera ranks first by average in all active players with 310. Second in active home runs, 502. Albert Pujols is number 1. We already mentioned Albert Pujols is also trying to chase a record this year. He needs 21 home runs this year to reach 600, I believe. The pitch, Cabrera does get behind that one, right to the right fielder there, and Arroyo puts it away. 2 outs now in the inning. Cabrera is 0 for 3 in the game. As Whitlock looks to shut things down after a 3-run top half of the 6th for the Red Sox. Eric Haas digs in again. 98 games last year, 22 home runs, 231 average. So for a young guy, did give them some production, but not exactly one of your top prospects right now. Not exactly a piece for the future, it seems, unless, of course, he takes off this year. Curveball bends in there for Whitlock for strike 1. The outfield alignment for the Tigers is probably going to consist of Meadows and Green and probably a free agent addition at some point. Grossman and House just kind of placeholders at the moment. Baddoo is also out there in the outfield. He's played well for them over the last couple of years. Joe Jimenez loosening for the Tigers in the bullpen. He probably comes on for the 7th. 0-2 now to Eric Haas. As we get through these middle innings. Whitlock, the pitch, high strike there, delivered by Haas, delivers it to right field, and Arroyo on the run makes the catch. That's the 3rd out of the inning, and we're through 6 in Boston, or in Detroit anyway, as Boston is coming up after scoring 3 runs in the top of the 6th inning. Let's see if they can keep that momentum going and take a lead in this game. After both starting pitchers started the game pretty well, Detroit able to get to Rich Hill a little bit quicker than the Red Sox were able to get to Alexander. But we have an all-square game going to the 7th inning, 3-3. If we do go to extras, there will be an extra runner, of course. Baseball doesn't seem to want those 18-inning games on a condensed schedule after a shortened spring training due to a lockout. There was some thought that they wouldn't do that this year as they go back to the original schedule, but possibly they revisit that next year on just a regular offseason next year. A lot of money was spent after the lockout ended. A lot of teams made a lot of big investments to a ton of different players. Red Sox were one of those teams who did sign Trevor Story after the lockout ended. He was one of the top free agent shortstops to begin the offseason, and he was one of the very last options to sign before the season got underway. Michael Conforto, of course, is the only big-name free agent that's still out there on the board. There was some talk that he might go after a 1-year deal to just kind of reestablish his value after having a down year last year with the Mets. But it sounds like Scott Boras is putting out some spin that he was injured, and that's why they didn't really seek a contract when the lockout ended. But he's now healthy and practicing and all that, and so they're seeking a multi-year commitment from a club. We'll see if he ends up getting one. Tigers, of course, could use another outfielder. Red Sox have a lot of players that can move around and play a lot of different positions. Maybe he fits there on a 1-year deal. Lengthens that lineup, gives them a little bit more pop. But Conforto hasn't really been mentioned with any team specifically aside from the Cleveland Guardians, and that's the one team that's already said we're not going to be adding anybody. They want to see what they have in their young guys. Joe Jimenez is indeed on for the Tigers to start the 7th inning against Christian Arroyo. Lollipops another pitch, unable to find the zone with the first pitch. 85 mile an hour. I'm going to call it a changeup there. Bright sunny day in Detroit. Foul ball by Arroyo on a 96 mile an hour fastball, up and away. 52 games last year for Jimenez, 6-1 record, 5.96 ERA. Does struggle with command. However, he does not have a lot of contact hit against him, only a 2.06 average. Victor Reyes has taken over in right field. For Detroit, no indication as to why he's there yet. Arroyo taps one to the shortstop Baez, flips it on to first. Torkelson makes the catch, and Arroyo is retired. One out here in the top of the 7th. Tigers looking to secure their 3rd win on the year. 2-2 on the season so far. Boston looking to even the series at 1 game apiece after losing last night to Detroit. Verdugo digging in, 7th-hole hitter. 289 average last year for Verdugo. Strike 1 on the inside corner as Jimenez misses his spot, but still manages to get the strike call. Good speed on his pitches, hitting 95, 96 so far for Jimenez. 92 mile an hour fastball that he's unable to locate, bounces in the dirt. 1-1 is the count. 3-3 is our score here in the top of the 7th. Detroit jumped out to a 3-0 lead. In the top of the 6th, Boston scored 3 to even it up. Fouled off by Verdugo there. 1-2 the count now, as Verdugo's unhappy with himself that he wasn't able to straighten that ball out. Got a pitch to hit and wasn't able to do anything with it. Kind of a glancing blow off the top of the bat. Jimenez nods in agreement, sets, and delivers. High strike there. Verdugo does hit it hard, but the left fielder is there, Haas. Looks like Grossman is out of the game, as Baду is still in center, and Victor Reyes, of course, is now in right. Two outs now in the top of the 7th. Jimenez trying to work a 1-2-3 inning here. Plawecki back to the plate. Did get a single in that 6th inning, did score a run as well. It was the first run to score in that top half of the 6th inning, followed by Hernandez and Devers. Jimenez misses badly, bounces way to the right of the catcher, behind the left-handed hitter's batter's box, and goes all the way to the backstop. Nobody on base, so no damage done. Ball 1 is all it is. Plawecki digs in again. The pitch, right at the bottom of the zone, just tickled the very bottom of the zone. If we had robo-umps, that one's probably called a strike. But again, MLB emphasis this year is to call the high strike and not the low strike. 2-0 now the count to Plawecki. Well outside ball 3, 96 mile an hour fastball he lost command of there. Plawecki steps out to kind of gather himself on a 3-0 count here. Will they let him swing? Or will they try to get another, see if he can get on base due to the walk? Low outside corner gets the call. 95 mile an hour fastball gets over the corner. 3-1 now the count, with Jonathan Arise on deck. Ball 4 misses the outside corner, low and away. Jimenez gives a 2-out walk. That'll drive managers nuts. Managers hate to see walks in general, but they really hate them with 2 outs. No matter the situation, but 2 outs especially. Walks always seem to come around and hurt you, and A.J. Hinch cannot be happy with that one. Arise only played in 28 games last year, 185 average. Not a lot of power. More of a speed guy, as we saw in the last time he was up. Tried to get that bunt hit, but did end up getting the runner over to second base. A low strike that time called on the outside corner this time by Jimenez to the left-handed hitter Arise. 14 pitches now in the inning for Jimenez so far, having to work a little bit after issuing a walk to Plawecki. Fouled back to the screen there, and it's 0-2 now as Detroit looks to get out of the inning. Thanks again for joining us here at the Upside for afternoon baseball. We're watching the Boston Red Sox take on the Detroit Tigers. Both pitchers started the game very well. Command was there for both of them. However, Rich Hill started to lose his in the bottom of the third, allowed 3 runs to score. Top of the 6th, Boston returns the favor, chases the starter Alexander, scores 3 runs there, evens the game up. And that's where we stand right now, 3-3 with 2 outs here, 1-2 count now. For Jimenez against the hitter, Arise. In the top of the 7th, runner on first. Arise swings and misses and chases a ball, slams his bat down in disgust at himself for chasing that one. And that's the 3rd out of the inning. Tigers get out of it with no damage done. Moving on to the bottom half of the 7th inning now. Detroit hasn't had much going for it over the last couple of innings anyway. We'll see if they can get the ball rolling again. Miguel Cabrera has held hitless so far. That was one of the headlines we were hoping for at the start of the game, as he's only 9 hits away from 3,000. Trevor Story, the big addition in the offseason by the Red Sox, is also not in the lineup today, as Arise is in there as his replacement. But again, thank you for joining us on Tuesday afternoon baseball. Let us know which team you'd like to see us cover next. Mainly going to deal with the schedule, but we'll try to cover whichever team our viewers want to see next. We have a number of you that have joined us over the last couple of days anyway with the live streams and watch parties we've done. Sunday we watched the Rangers and Blue Jays go at it. 15 runs in the first 5 innings of that one. Very entertaining game. On Sunday night we watched the final game of the season for the Dallas Mavericks as they tried to vie for the 3rd seed out west in the NBA. Luka Doncic left the game injured in that game. Makes you wonder if it really was worth it, knowing that the Warriors were up by 20 and change against the Pelicans and were unlikely to relinquish that 3rd seed. But with that said, he had a left calf strain, and it looks like he'll be uncertain anyway for Game 1 against the Utah Jazz on Saturday. They play at 1 o'clock. Tonight is the play-in tournament for basketball as well. Brooklyn takes on, I believe, Atlanta. And the late game, of course, is going to be LA versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Winner gets the 7th seed in the East or West, respectively. Loser is not eliminated from contention. They just play the winner of the 9-10 game. Loser is out of the postseason. Should be some good basketball this evening anyway. Looks like we're back for the bottom half of the 7th. We'll see if Whitlock comes out for another inning of work. And it looks like he is, with a tie ball game and how well he pitched last half inning. Looking to get a little bit more length out of him. There was some talk that they might use him as a starter to begin the season, but he's coming out of the bullpen today. And the pitch to Baddoo, fouls it off. If you remember, Baddoo hit that line drive down the left field line in front of Verdugo. Verdugo tried to make a sliding stop to keep it in front of him, ended up bouncing off of him and hitting the sidewall, and Baddoo was able to stretch it onto third base. Baddoo off the end of the bat to Hernandez, who stands there, look up, and makes the catch. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Whitlock at 17 pitches, so no worry about him as far as pitch count. He might not be stretched out all the way to be a starter, but he's still a former starter, so he should have plenty of bullets left in that arm. Jackie Bradley Jr. has come into the game to play right field. Arroyo is not out of the game. However, he moves over to second base and takes over for Jonathan Arise, who was the third out of the inning last inning. Torkelson is in there, takes a high and inside strike. Unhappy with himself that he took that one. Looks like he was taking all the way, though. Did secure his first major league hit earlier in the game off the glove of Christian Arroyo when he was in right field. Torkelson swings at that changeup up and in, fouls it back to the screen, quickly behind 0-2. Whitlock working quickly here in the bottom of the seventh. 1 out, 3-3 our score. Whitlock delivers, swing and a miss, powers that fastball by Torkelson, and he's down on 3 pitches. Still very young career for Torkelson, getting used to the major league game. Unhappy with himself that he wasn't able to catch up to that ball. But an 83-mile-an-hour changeup, followed up by a 96-mile-an-hour elevated fastball, gets the job done for Whitlock. And quickly have 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. If he works this quickly, he may come back out for the 8th inning. But right now, got the catcher Garreau at the plate. Pops it up, and this is probably going to be the end of the inning as it's right over the third base bag. Devers comes in a few more steps, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Quick moving game today, end of 7 already. 3-3 is our score. Should be an interesting final 2 innings of the game. See if anybody gets on or gets a run across before the end of the 9th inning. If not, there will be extras in Detroit. And remember, there will be a runner on second as they try to end these games before they continue on and on and on, especially with the lockout shortening the spring training for all teams in baseball. Thanks again for joining us here at the Upside Sports Network. In a commercial break right now for the Red Sox and Tigers game. 3-3 is the score. Torkelson got his first major league hit. Got the first hit of the game anyway in the bottom of the 3rd. Moved over to third base by a bloop hit by Garreau over the shortstop's head. Grossman on a ball that should have been fielded by Devers a little bit closer to the bag at third base would allow the double play to happen. Was a little bit too far back to be at double play depth, was a little bit out of position. Cost them a run and probably would have gotten them out of the inning. All 3 runs came in that inning. So in a sense, you could say by misplaying or not being in the right position, cost the Red Sox 3 runs in that half inning. But maybe that's on the coaching staff for not having him in the correct position at double play depth. In either event, Grossman's ground ball allowed Garreau to go to second base and allowed Torkelson to score. Scope hit a kind of a fly ball, lazy fly ball down the right field line, that fell in front of Christian Arroyo and allowed Garreau to score easily from second base. Scope held on at first base. Baez then laced a ball over the shortstop's head and all the way to the wall for a double that allowed Scope to score, and that was 3-0. In the top of the 6th, we saw Alexander get into a little bit of trouble anyway. Plawecki reached. Arise moved him over to second. Hernandez hit a hit a double anyway into the gap, or down the right field line off the wall. Devers reached on another double, and then Bogaerts was called out. I believe he struck out that inning. And then Martinez hit that ball right on the foul line down the first base line that was reviewed by the Tigers, and unfortunately for them, was still ruled a fair ball, and we have a tie score at 3-3. Pitching change here for the Detroit Tigers. Lang comes in for the Tigers out of the bullpen. Alex Lang, 36 games last year, 1-3 record, 4.04 ERA, 35 innings. Does have a very high, doesn't miss a lot of barrels anyway, .256 average against him. Struggles with command from time to time. So again, still getting that bullpen, that pitching staff together if you're a Detroit Tigers fan. We'll see if he finds a little bit more success here. Falls behind the leadoff hitter 2-0 here to Hernandez. Scope is all the way over on the shortstop side of second base as they are in the shift. Now 3-0 as Lang misses his spot again. Set. And the pitch. Ball 4, not competitive. Not what you want to see coming out of the bullpen if you're a Tigers fan. 4-pitch walk to start the 8th inning. Looks like those command issues are still there for Lang. Makes you wonder why managers go to these type of pitchers. Rangers went to the one guy who gives up home runs in a situation where they could not give up a home run in Spores in the opener for them in the game we watched on Sunday. And then today they need some control as they have a 3-3 game, and Lang, of course, issues a 4-pitch walk and struggles with command again as he almost hits Devers there. Catcher quickly out to talk to Lang to settle him down. 5 pitches, 5 balls for Lang to start the top of the 8th inning. Guerrero trying to talk him down. Candelario in there to give him some confidence as well. Pat on the hip says, "You got him, big guy." He looks very nervous, though, out there on the mound. Does not exude confidence right now. 1-0 is the count. Devers is your batter, best hitter in the lineup for them. As Devers shares a laugh with the home plate umpire. The pitch. Devers chases one out of the zone. That would have been the 6th straight ball for Lang, but instead Devers wasn't able to hold up on that one. Devers can be aggressive at times. So far has 5 hits and 16 at-bats on the young season. 2 for 3 today with a strikeout in the first. Bounces one in all the way to the backstop, makes Devers hit the ground. Lang is very, 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 very wild right now. 2-1 the count, and Devers is still on the ground, massaging his ankle. He might have twisted it a little bit as he dove out of the way of that pitch. That pitch literally was at his back foot. I don't know how he got out of the way in time. Guerrero again tried to make a glove stab at it and didn't get in front of the ball again. That was not necessarily on him that time. That was a very wild pitch. Crossed up. He was expecting to go on the outside corner. And that pitch was all the way in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. Hernandez gets a nice lead from second base as he advanced. Foul ball by Devers off the catcher's lid. Umpire checks on him, gives him some time to kind of gather his wits again. Devers pats him on the chest, says, "Sorry about that." Ooh, nope, it was right off the shoulder. Ouch. Not much protection there except for a little flap. It looks like he just barely nicked the flap, but got mostly the shoulder. Umpire says, "Let's go." It's 2-2 now to Devers. And they're going through signs and not using the pitch comm, which is why this is taking a little bit longer. And that one bounces in the left-handed hitter's batter's box again, makes Devers dance anyway in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. I don't know how Guerrero kept that one in front of him and kept Hernandez from advancing. Vest is loosening. Will Vest, anyway, is loosening, the right-handed pitcher for the Detroit Tigers in the bullpen, as Lang just hasn't been able to get his command under control here. If he does get the out of Devers, maybe he sticks around for one more hitter. Steps off the mound. Another mound visit by the catcher. They are just not on the same page. Alex Lang is the epitome of lack of confidence right now, as the Red Sox try to get the lead here in the top of the 8th. As he steps off again. This looks more to me like they're trying to give Vest some time now. You don't want to leave a pitch over the heart of the plate for Devers to crush, because then you're behind in the game. 3-2 pitch, top of the 8th, no out, one runner on second. Ground ball where the shortstop hole was, gets into center field, misplayed by Baddoo, and it's going to be a 4-3 game as Devers advances on the misplay by Baddoo. 4-3 Red Sox. Devers advances to second, and we're going to see a pitching change here in Detroit. 0 command by Alex Lane, coughs up a walk, and then loses command and allows a runner to advance on a wild pitch. Devers that probably was ball 4 as well. Hit it off the very end of the bat. Baddoo just didn't see it into his glove as he tried to get it with one hand as he was charging the ball to try to make a throw to home. But fundamental baseball there. See the ball into your glove first is the first priority. Allowed the runner to move on to second after he misplayed it. Lang does actually stay on the mound now that he's given up the lead. I don't know. It's still only a 1-run game. Maybe they're hoping to build the confidence of Lang. I don't know. Bogaerts fouled off that first pitch, though. 0-1 now the count. Red Sox have taken a 4-3 lead here late in the game after Lang gives up a 4-pitch walk to Hernandez, who advanced on a wild pitch to Devers. Devers then hits one in the shortstop hole to center field. Baddoo misplays it and allows Devers to get to second and the run to score. This game has gotten a little interesting as the game has wore on. Red Sox charged back to tie the game at 3 in the top of the 6th. Now in the 8th, they get an extra run, the go-ahead run. Excuse me swing by Bogaerts. Look back to second by Lang. Throws on to first and gets the out. First out of the inning. Maybe that'll settle down Lang a little bit more. Confidence from the manager. And now getting the first out of his day-to-day. The big hit in the game, of course, was the J.D. Martinez off the foul line that was reviewed by the Tigers and ruled that it was indeed a fair ball. Martinez up for the first time after that RBI double in the 6th. 28 homers last year. Looks like he was swinging for one there. Fouls it off down the first base side. 0-1 the count. Lang is starting to find the strike zone a little bit more. Eduardo Rodriguez, the former Red Sox, the starter tomorrow for the Tigers in the finale of the series against Nate Eovaldi, who currently is the ace of the Red Sox staff with Chris Sale injured. Time asked for by Martinez and granted by the home plate umpire. Lang looks at something in his hat, symbols 4 to the catcher. Maybe they're trying to change up the signs because they're not using PitchCom. As you see, the catcher kind of moves his fingers around, 1, 2, all those kinds of things. Hits, up and in by Lang, hits Martinez right on the elbow. That looked painful. Martinez trying to walk it off. Hinch not happy. Out of the dugout again. Literally right on the corner, or right on the very elbow. Right there. Martinez gets hit. Very questionable pitching decisions today by the Tigers. Not taking out Alexander a little bit quicker. Seeing the chalk pop up on that replay and still deciding to issue the challenge and losing it. And then not pulling Lang before the hit batsman to Martinez. Hinch out of the dugout both times quickly to make those pitching changes. With some purpose anyway, but I believe those pitching changes were at least one batter too late. Maybe early on in the season they want to see if they can work their way out of trouble. It is early in the season. It's a 162-game season. You got to see if they can work themselves out of that kind of trouble. And so far, they have not been equal to the task. Red Sox, though, are able to take the lead. They now have 2 runners on. As we have a pitching change, Will Vest looks like he's going to be coming on for Detroit in a 4-3 ball game with Boston looking for more. Boston looking for their second win on the season. Their only win coming on Sunday Night Baseball to the Yankees. This team should get better as it gets a little bit healthier in that starting staff and possibly adds a piece around the deadline. Will they compete for the division crown? Possibly, but I believe they're more going to be looking at the wild card situation based on how good the Blue Jays look. Blue Jays do need to get their starting staff in order after having Ryu take a ball off his shin, leave injured. Barrios unable to get out of the first inning against the Rangers in his first start of the year, but it's early. We'll see how significant those problems in the pitching staff for Toronto are, but they'll probably add at the deadline as well, but they look to be the class of the AL East. Yankees are up there as well, and Tampa, of course. Tampa, of course, got a cookie of a series to start the season against Baltimore. Sorry, Baltimore Orioles fans. You're not going to be good this year. Looks like we're back from commercial break anyway. 4-3 is our score. Boston in front of Detroit. Runners on first and second after Alex Lang was unable to really command the ball at all. Will Vest is in. Curveball gets in there for strike one. A little bit more command and control here for Vest. 32 games last year with Seattle, 1-0 record, 6.17 earned run average. Is unable to avoid a lot of bats, which is why he's moved around in his career. Struggles a little bit with command, but not nearly to the level that Lang does. The one issue that you do worry about with him is that he does run into a lot of barrels. Another strike pumped in there to Bobby Dahlbeck this time, and he quickly falls behind 0-2. Dahlbeck today 0 for 3, looking to turn around his fortunes and bust this game wide open. Get a couple of insurance runs here would be very nice for the Red Sox. Chases a ball, and is the second out of the inning. Dahlbeck knows that he chased that one there. Young first baseman learning about the strike zone again as Vest takes advantage of the young player. 2 outs now, first and second. Arroyo coming up. You remember Arroyo started the game in right field, moved to second base in the last half inning as Jackie Bradley Jr. came in as a defensive replacement. 0 for 3 on the day for Arroyo, a flyout and 2 groundouts. 25 RBIs last year, looking to get a couple more right now. Want to know the count to Arroyo. And the pitch. Right over the outside corner, foul tipped into the catcher's mitt, strike one. Good effort there by Arroyo, but Vest put that pitch exactly where he wanted to put it. Devers gets his lead off of second. Martinez the lead off of first. 4-3 here in the top of the 8th. The pitch in the dirt, smothered by Garreau, and Devers stays put at second base. Not exactly fleet of foot guys, Devers or Martinez. Mainly looking to bust this game open with the bat, so Arroyo will have to do it here if the Red Sox are to extend their lead. Tigers trying to keep it close for their bottom half of the 8th coming up. The set and the pitch. Up and in. Ugh. You want that one if you're a Tigers fan, and if this is robo-umps next year, that was a strike. But the umpires calls that one a little bit inside. It was right at the letters, though. Arroyo tries to sell that it was a little bit more inside by bending back out of the way. 3-1. On the inside corner, foul as Arroyo smashed it down the first base line. 3-2 now the count to Christian Arroyo, former top prospect, hoping to find some greater playing time this season with the Red Sox. Appeared in only 57 games last year. Health a part of that factor last year. Good baseball game today. Not too high scoring. Some good pitching early on in the game. Bullpen has struggled for the Tigers today. Rich Hill started the game well for the Red Sox, but just wore down as the game wore on and was pulled in the fifth, excuse me. Alexander started the game for Detroit and pitched very well. However, A.J. Hinch, I believe, pulled him one hitter too late. And that's the difference in the game as far as where we're at now. Maybe they choose to go with different relievers if they still got the lead. Alex Verdugo on deck, 0 for 3 in the game, 3-2 the count, 2 outs, top of the 8th, 2 on, 4-3 Boston lead. Arroyo at the plate, the pitch. Hammered by Arroyo, past the third baseman. Devers around third, he will score. Martinez going to third. He gets in there safely. First and third now as Arroyo gives them a good go-ahead run there. 5-3 Boston with 2 outs here in the 8th. Will Vest unable to shut the door. Great at bat there by Arroyo as he smashed that ball past a diving Candelario at third base. And Devers was actually hustling that time around. No loafing trying to get home that time as he had to beat the throw if there was going to be one. Who says you have to hit only home runs or strike out or walk in this game? The 3 true outcomes. Contact baseball getting it done today. Arroyo with some speed on at first as Verdugo comes up. Oof. Touches the very bottom outside corner, but called a ball there. Major League Baseball again wanting that pitch up, called a strike more a little bit, or wanting that strike to be called a little bit higher than that anyway. 5-3 Boston here in the top of the 8th. Vest pitch down the left field line. Sliding play into the wall by Haas and makes the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. Great defensive play by Eric Haas for the Tigers, and they get out of it after surrendering the lead. They give up 2 to Boston in the half inning. Here we go to the bottom of the 8th. Should be a very competitive final half or a couple innings here. Will the Red Sox bullpen be able to get the job done? Or will the Tigers offense finally come through again? Well, thanks again for joining us here on Thursday Afternoon Baseball. 5-3 is the score. Boston over Detroit right now as we head to the bottom of the 8th. We'll see if Whitlock comes out again. He's pitched very well in his 2 innings of relief. Or will they turn it over to another reliever? Javi Baez does have an RBI in the game. Miguel Cabrera has been held hitless today as he's only 9 away from 3,000 in his career. For those of you interested in tomorrow's Red Sox-Tigers game, it will be Nate Eovaldi on the mound for the Red Sox going against his former teammate, Eduardo Rodriguez, who battles against the Boston Red Sox, who he played for very well in the postseason last year in his 2nd start of the year. One thing that I'm wondering is Miguel Cabrera's career kind of winds down. Is he going to be in the Hall of Fame? Detroit Tigers have had a nice run of players getting in the Hall of Fame in the last few years. I believe he does, just the impact he's had. But, baseball writers, they like to have a certain number of thresholds hit. He'd be one of 7 baseball players in history to have 500 home runs and 3,000 hits. So that would go even further solidifying his case for a Hall of Fame run. But of course, he's going to have to contend with players, contemporaries at the time, of course, and Albert Pujols, other power first basemen over the years. We just saw David Ortiz get in this year, another slugger type player. And we're back. Whitlock is back out for the 8th. He's only had 22 pitches so far as he delivers strike 1. Crushed down the... Oh, wow. What a play by Dahlbeck. Snares it out of midair. Wow. And the first batter of the inning is retired. Hit that one on the screws, but nice play by Dahlbeck, who was camping on the line. Makes a nice leaping grab for it over his left shoulder. Very nice play by Dahlbeck there. First out of the inning. Scope steps up. Baez is on deck to be followed by Candelario and Cabrera if they get that far. Ball 1, 1-1 in the count to Jonathan Scope, former Twin and Oriole. Ground ball right along the first base line. Whitlock fields, flips to first, Dahlbeck covering, and gets the second out. Weak contact there by Whitlock. Baez to step in. Jason Foley is loosening in the bullpen for Detroit for the 9th. Try to shut the door on Boston to keep it close if they're unable to tie it or take the lead here. 1 for 3 today is Baez. RBI double in the 3rd. We saw how hard that ball was hit. 31 home runs last year for Baez between the Mets and Cubs. Whitlock delivers. Baez hits it on the screws again, but this time right at the center fielder, Hernandez, who flips it into the stands. 3 outs, and that's the end of the 8th inning. Whitlock, 3 innings out of the bullpen today. He's pitched very well for them. Long reliever / starter type player, and he proved why he's so valuable to the Boston Red Sox in that long relief role. On to the top of the 9th. Boston with a 5-3 lead. Cabrera will be due up second in the bottom of the 9th in the last hope for the Detroit Tigers to try to get this game back in their control. Maybe we see a walk-off, maybe we don't. But 5-3 is our score. Tonight again is the play-in tournament, the 7-8 game for both the East and the West. Brooklyn is the first game of the night, playing, I believe, the Atlanta Hawks. Second game of the night, Minnesota Timberwolves take on the Los Angeles Clippers. We may live stream one of those. Let us know in the comment section if you want to see us do a live stream of those play-in games. Those games should be highly entertaining after all the drama the Brooklyn Nets have had around them this season. Maybe they finally get their ducks in a row and finally show the team that they were meant to be when it was originally constructed with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. The trade of James Harden brought in Simmons and Seth Curry. Simmons will not play in tonight's game, probably will not play in the first-round series either. When he is on the floor, he's a great defender, but he's a liability on offense. Maybe they use him in more of a point guard role and let Kyrie play the shooting guard in that offense. We'll see how that develops, or if he plays at all this postseason. Looks like we're back from commercial break anyway. Rafael Devers had an outstanding day today. They're showing his defensive play in that 3rd inning that I think was a little bit of a misplay, honestly. But at the plate, can't really argue with the results. Great player. Detroit hasn't steered away from him in the lineup. They haven't really tried to avoid him in the lineup either. And it's cost him. Story of the day for Boston from pitching side. Rich Hill in the first few innings being able to pitch very well, found some trouble. But the biggest story is Garrett Whitlock. 3 dominant innings out of the bullpen, 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, just nothing really doing for the Tigers for them. Great job for him. He may indeed come out for the 9th. We may see the closer for Boston. Who knows? Right now, Plawecki is up, takes ball 1, as Foley is on the mound, and the count is even as he finds the strike zone. 1-1 now, the count to the Red Sox catcher. 5-3 here in the top of the 9th. Red Sox looking for an insurance run. And the pitch. Ooh, Plawecki didn't like that one, but doesn't really say much because he wants that pitch to be called for his pitcher in the next half inning. On the outside corner, low and away. 1-2 now, the count on Plawecki. Former Met. Plawecki gets behind that one, hits it all the way to the warning track, and Haas makes the catch again. Not as impressive as the last half inning, where he made that sliding catch into the sidewall there to end the inning in the 8th, but he records the out there. 5-3 again is the score. 1 out here in the top of the 9th. Jason Foley on for the Tigers to try to keep it close. Jackie Bradley Jr. for his first at-bat of the day after coming on for a defensive replacement. After Arroyo replaced Jonathan Arise, sliding over from right field to second, Bradley came in to play right field. The pitch, low, ball 1, looks like a changeup that just missed low. 1-0 the count. Bradley Jr. last year, I mentioned that his bat had seriously regressed. In 134 games, hit 163. I did not stutter. 163 in 134 games. Not a good performance at the plate. But maybe you find some consistency in Boston, familiar confines and all that. So far, so good today. Takes 2 balls low. 2-0 the count. A severe shift on for the Tigers. 3 guys on the right side of the infield. Torkelson, Scope, and Baez. Only Candelario there on the left side of the infield. Bradley Jr. misses the fastball down the middle. Strike 1. Takes a deep breath, loosens himself up. Ready for the delivery from Foley. He is a very good defender, exceptional in fact. However, he may start to lose a step as he gets a little older. Baez fields over second base, on to first, and he is retired. 2 outs now. Game recap anyway. Detroit jumped out to an early lead, 3-0 lead in that 3rd inning. Torkelson with his first ever major league hit off the glove of a diving right fielder in Christian Arroyo. Garreau came around and scored later in the inning, and Baez hit that RBI double to make it 3-0. In the 6th, 3 runs for the Red Sox, a couple of insurance runs in the the go-ahead run and the insurance run last half inning. And now we have the top of the 9th and top of the lineup back up there with Kike Hernandez. 5-3 the score, 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. Red Sox in front. Cabrera will bat second in the bottom of the 9th. Hernandez hammers that pitch, but well foul down the third base line. 0-2 quickly is the count to Hernandez. Foley trying to work quickly here and get his team back to the plate. Looking for a rally in the bottom of the 9th. They will have their 4, 5, and 6 hitters up. Foley set and the pitch. Fouled off by Hernandez at the top of the zone on the outside corner. Hernandez feels like he missed one there. A nice cool day. It's only 64 degrees there. Bright and sunny there in Detroit. Just off of the Great Lakes. Foley set for 0-2 delivery to Hernandez. And the pitch. Laced by Hernandez down the right field line again. Finds the corner for his 2nd double of the day. Just now being dug out by Reyes and flipped on to Scope. Hits the relay guy, but Hernandez is in there standing up for a double. And we will see Rafael Devers hit again. Let's see if the Tigers pitch Devers a little bit more carefully this time around. Beautiful swing by Hernandez there. Gets the job done. And now he's in scoring position, trying to extend the lead for the Red Sox. If they do extend it far enough, maybe we do see Whitlock come back out for the Red Sox as Devers digs in. Looked very uncomfortable in his first at bat, has looked nothing but confident ever since. Fully steps off, steps back on, and we're ready to go. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. And the pitch. Way outside, ball 1. Looks like he lost command on that one. Still not sure if they're going to pitch to Devers here. Devers is very aggressive. They do have an overshift on. Candelario, the only one on the left side of the infield. Scope in short right field. Devers has gone the other way a couple of times today, though. Ball 2, another one in the right-handed hitter's batter's box. 2-0 now the count. Two outs here in the top of the 9th. Devers trying to extend the lead for Boston. And the pitch. Swung on and missed. Another pitch well outside the zone, but Devers, the aggressive hitter, trying to make something happen, get some damage there. That's about where that pitch was the last time when he hit it off the very end of the bat, and that went into center field. That was misplayed by Baddoo and allowed him to advance on to second base the last time he was at bat, driving in a run. Rolls over that pitch. Short right field is Scope on to Torkelson, and that's the end of the inning. Tigers' last chance coming up, bottom of the 9th. Miguel Cabrera will hit second, Candelario to lead things off, and we'll see if the Tigers can get something going in the bottom of the 9th. Thanks again for joining us here on Thursday Afternoon Baseball. Joining our live stream watch party, checking in on all the teams around the league eventually as the season goes along. Seeing the offseason additions they've made, the growth of their younger players. Today we got to see Spencer Torkelson get his first hit as a major leaguer, former number 1 overall pick by the Tigers a couple years ago. Probably check in on the other AL Rookies of the Year candidates. Bobby Witt Jr. in Kansas City at some point. Rushman for the Orioles at some point is going to be up, and so we'll check in on him at some point. Major contenders this year in the American League, though, the White Sox, Astros, Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, Rays, Mariners. All of those teams figure to be in contention for a playoff spot, as well as the Minnesota Twins and Cleveland Guardians. Detroit's probably going to be a year away. Rangers a year away. Angels, I just don't believe have enough pitching. And the Oakland A's are selling yet more pieces today. There was talk that Frankie Montas was going to be traded. I'm not sure if they've completed that trade yet. If they have, you will see a video on it on our page later on this afternoon. Minnesota Twins did acquire Chris Paddock from the Padres earlier this past week. Give them some starting pitching depth in the Central. Looks like we're about ready for the bottom of the 9th here. Candelario to lead things off here. Cabrera to follow. See if he can get a hit and inch his way a little bit closer. Looks like Whitlock is coming out again, as dominant as he has been. You can't really blame the Red Sox for sticking with him. This will be a 4-inning save, and yes, you can have a save by pitching more than 1 inning. But this is a save situation anyway for Whitlock. Devers catches the pop-up, and Candelario is retired on 2 pitches. Whitlock, moving very quickly in this game, has pitched 3 innings already and has only thrown 29 pitches. The Tigers seem to have a very aggressive approach at the plate today. That was the scouting report against Rich Hill. Seems like they haven't gotten away from that with Garrett Whitlock. Maybe teams will be a little bit more cognizant of that going forward. But one out here in the bottom of the ninth. Miguel Cabrera is up. Tigers down by 2, so don't need a home run here. A base hit, and then they'll probably pinch run anyway for Miguel Cabrera. Tigers home crowd getting into it with Cabrera at the plate. Ball 1, well outside there. Whitlock on for his 4th inning of work. 256 average last year for Cabrera. Up and in. Ball 2. 2-0 now to Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera very willing to be patient here as he knows they need more than just one run. If he can get on base, he'll be happy with that, and then we should see a pinch runner for him. One of the slowest runners in Major League Baseball at this point. Right at the bottom of the strike zone, Miguel Cabrera takes strike 1. A little tongue-in-cheek for him as he looks back at the umpire. Two-one now the count to the future Hall of Famer. The pitch. Low. Cabrera did not want to be called for his check swing, so the other Red Sox did not even ask for appeal. Cabrera, out of habit, points to the first base umpire, but no appeal was granted. 3-1 now the count as Whitlock starts to feel the effects of 4 innings worth of work now out of the bullpen. Cabrera fouls one off. 3-2 now. Looks like he's starting to feel a little bit of those innings right now, breathing a little bit heavier. Maybe we see the Red Sox get at the bullpen going if Cabrera reaches. Strike 3. Cabrera swings right through it. Whitlock powered it right past him. 2 outs now in the 9th. 1 out away from their 2nd win of the season, which is what the Red Sox really need to kind of even up this series. Move them to 2-3 on the year. Great pitch by Whitlock. Threw it right where he wanted to. Cabrera not happy with himself that he was unable to catch up to that fastball. That was a very hittable pitch, but he just wasn't able to catch up to that speed. Last hope for the Tigers, Eric Haas, who's made a couple of nice defensive plays today. See if he can do something with the stick. Takes ball 1 and then fouls off that pitch. It's now 1-1. 0 for 3 today, a ground out and 2 flyouts. Does have 22 home runs last year in 98 games, so got a little bit of pop in that bat. But again, you don't need a home run right now. You need a base hit. You need something, anything to keep the game moving as you're down by 2. Whitlock, a nice curveball there. Off speed, gets Haas way out in front. It's now 1-2. 1 strike away from the Red Sox securing their 2nd win on the year. Whitlock steps off to kind of gather himself before this pitch. Haas steps back in. No pitch comm used again here, showing signs. Looks like we might have an off-speed pitch. And we do, but Haas drills it down the left field line. Caught by Verdugo, the left fielder, and the game is over. 5-3 the final score. Nice opening couple of innings for the Tigers. Jumped out to a 3-0 lead. A 3-run top of the 6th by the Red Sox, and a 2-run 8th inning gives them the lead, and they never look back. Garrett Whitley, player of the game in my opinion, along with Rafael Devers. Kike Hernandez played well for the Red Sox as well. From a Tigers perspective, you got a lot of 5 good innings out of Alexander. Pulled him a little bit late, in my opinion, to kind of rough up his day. Leaves with a no decision. But a great start for Alexander for his first start of the season. Tomorrow, we see Eduardo Rodriguez take on Nate Eovaldi as Rodriguez faces for the first time faces his former team in the Red Sox after signing that 5-year, $77 million deal to go to Detroit this past offseason. Possibly see Trevor Story back in the lineup as well. But thanks for joining us here for Tuesday afternoon baseball. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please do so. We appreciate all of you. who've joined us over the past couple of days. It's been a great run having all of you join us here, and welcome to the upside. And thank you again for joining us here for Tuesday afternoon baseball.